It's not for, it's not against, but it's a platform now open. So let me officially welcome Jerome Gayman. Indeed, he is the VP, Vice President for Administration, CMC. My own big brother, he's live on the screen. Chief, welcome to Truth FM and Closing Argument again. Good to be here after a very long, good and super weekend. Good to have you on.
Thank you very much. And it was a great day to be alive. You know, the old folks used to say in the church, they say, when I wake up in the morning, and if I look around and see what's happening around me, I got nothing to say but to say, thank you, Lord, for giving me another day. So here we are, after a long weekend. We are back on this edition of the Closing Argument. A lot of stuff happened since we left. Great news. We got tons of things to talk about. And also tell me, how is Monrovia? How is the capital?
Why, as you said, good. Just a very cool, cool city. I've been observing the movement of our people since the weekend up to this Monday. I've been observing our people. So there are so many things happening back here. The U.S. rate is one of the major issue or talking points now. You know, in quarters and corner, we have people talking about the current U.S. rate. The issue of this mpox, monkeypox disease or sickness, again, is alarming, and there are a lot of mixed reaction coming in from the public. The MFA also had a press conference today. That is the National Public Health Institute of Liberia. They had a major press conference today. The president holds a major cabinet meeting with focus on domestic resources mobilization. With his ministers and top government officials today at the executive mansion. So back home here, I just had things look like, as I said, they just been very cool. People now becoming to take precaution of this mpox sickness or disease that's going in the country. And as we go through the show, we'll also be giving a update for now the official press conference from Enfield, which we held this morning. So as we run through the show, we'll provide more information.
Thank you very much. I am Jerome Gayman, and I'm sitting in for Chief Tomalin George. He's going to be joining us today. You know, he has a lot of girls in the house, and sometimes it's good to take some time off to spend time with the girls, and they need a daddy at all times. But don't worry, he will be here. The whole crew will be here. Ben Sanvee is also taking some time off. Julius, everybody, Garguah, taking some time off. They will be back. They will join. My own nephew from Grand Bassa County, Torgbean, will be here. We have my other nephew, Siliki. He's in Rwanda. He will join. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a full house and a lot to talk about. On the agenda, before we go, let me say hi to our folks, our brothers and sisters on of our voice. Let me look, I go to Grand Bassa first, my hometown. Hello, Grand Bassa County, Buchanan in particular. River says, Magivi, Nimba, Bong, Lofa, Cape Mount, Bombing, of course, Monserrato, Wapolu. Wherever you are, welcome to the Closing Argument. Send in your comments, send in whatever it is you want to talk, get in the comment section and talk to us. We want to hear from you. But there's a lot happening today, Ansu, on our agenda here. First, let me start with Riverside territory. Riverside County. I'm dating myself here, telling me that I'm a very old man. Riverside County, Senator G. Von Smith fired his administrative assistant today for having political ambition. Mr. Grant clandestinely wants to run against Mr. Grant in the House. And Honorable G. Von Smith said Honorable Grant had been a very close ally of his. River says caucus have always been disorganized. Finally, they have a team and working. And in his office, his administrative assistant wants to unseat Mr. Grant. Without his knowledge, he found out to be very disrespectful. And if he supposed that, he would be undermining a very good friend who supported him in all his political quest and undermining the stability of River says, so he fired his administrative assistant. So we're going to be discussing this. Is it a crime to work for your boss and have a political ambition that juxtaposes or that go against his own interest? We discuss that. We also discuss the speaker, Richard Combs, prioritizing departmental empowerment and logistics in leadership reform. And we'll go into that. We'll also talk about Edwin Snow Jr., Honorable Edwin Snow Jr. announced a resolution in Liberia House of Representatives to ECOWAS. We will also look at the government announcing expansion of water supply in Greater Monrovia with over 2,500 households to benefit, according to the Liberian government. We will delve into that. Liberia confirms outbreak of the monkeypox virus with 4 active cases launched, and the government launches nationwide vaccination exercises beginning today, according to the director, Dr. Dube, I think his name is. Representative Mr. Ender criticized for alleged assaulting a Chinese national, an action described as misunderstanding of responsibilities entrusted to him as an elected official. The National Port Authority accused Etela Metal, Liberia, deliberately refusing to pay royalties for usage of the port of Buchanan, depriving government millions in revenue, according to the Port Authority. Chief Imam Krai of the Liberian Muslim Association criticizes the legislature and requests that the legislature be dissolved as they are useless. He says, President Joseph Boakai warns appointed officials of frequent travel without proper notification, calls for accountability in allocation and usage of foreign funds across all sectors. And on the international scene, Russia announced its preparedness to work with Ukraine on a memorandum of understanding that establishes a ceasefire after nearly 3 years of conflict, Russia stated in its media. And then we are going to look at, if possible, STAND. The civil society organization raises alarm over police activities at its headquarters, something they call strong arming. We are also going to look at deeply what it is that the government is looking for by staging and posting armed men around the headquarters of STAND. Are they trying to intimidate STAND? Why are they doing this? We're going to discuss that. So these are the things. We have a full plate here. It is full. There's a lot of activities going on. So we are going to be waiting for Mr. Abu Kamara. Hopefully he can come here and defend his government. Let's see why the police was at STAN's office. Why did they post armed men around STAN's headquarters? Why?
And they said they were on the normal patrolling.
Is that what they said? Is it that's a normal patrol?
Yeah, they were on the normal no-go zone patrol for motorcyclists.
Okay, so STAN is a motorcyclist group.
So I want STAN office, they can go do there.
So if you are part of STAN, they are telling you not to stand anywhere near that area. So you got to keep moving. You can't stand. So the Liberian police, they are not only are they sending regular police, but they are sending armed policemen and women around STAN. STAN is saying this is an act of intimidation. You are trying to intimidate us. And the police and the Liberian government wants to know what are they standing for. I want to believe. So Ansu, here we are. You are in Monrovia. There's a lot going. Let's talk a little bit about the monkeypox. Um, this is something that is non-political.
Mm-hmm.
It is health issue. You were in Liberia for the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been very young when the Ebola virus hit Liberia.
I will say again.
Great. What is the difference now? What should our people do? What are some of the similarities that you see when it comes to prevention? What are they saying on the ground, and how are the citizens accepting this?
Yes. No, I like the question, and um, you see the Ebola and the Ebola or the coronavirus. Um, it just was like a silent weapon, something in which we're not really seeing physically, right?
Mm.
But all you have to do, you just have to go by the necessary steps or measure put in place by health authority in terms of preventing it. But you could not see it physically. But this one here, this uh
The monkeypox.
monkey pop, the monkey pop is something where we see physically when it come out, on a human body, especially when the virus have taken over the system. The what we've been seeing for the past days on a very popular uh, Liberian celebrity, influencer who came out with this monkeypox. He said when they went Lofa County recently on a tour with Orange Liberia, they were in white, and in Lofi, he could still remember that he came across someone, and he saw it, but he just saw it normally like, some people can have the bump on their faces, yeah, and sometimes a chicken part of what. So this person, but unexpectedly, this person just came to him and just gave him a hug.
Mm.
Yeah, just gave him a hug, and from there, but from there on, he started feeling funny and miserable in the system. He knew very well that something funny. He have encountered something very, very funny. He started feeling miserable. He started feeling very funny in the system. So they to go for that whole night to the next morning, then start to feel pain, then start to feel a little bit, cold, the joints and thing. And before he could go to the third, fourth days, the next thing started to see the things on his face. But if in the case of the corona or the Ebola, where did he go? Maybe the night or the next day he's already off already. So that's tell you that that's the difference. That's a huge difference or differences we are seeing from this monkey pop stuff here. So the prevention now, we are still going back to the same thing. Maybe in terms of a close contact, regular hygiene, hands washing, and uh, observing probably should I say public gathering. Those will be the very same thing I think in which the public will have to follow. But for this, as I said, you can see it physically. I hope the guys, our production team, can put it on the screen for us so our people can watch and see it. You can see it physically, and it's something in which, like I said, he saw it. He said he saw it on the person, but like just like a normal bump or what he said, it was like a normal bump or something he saw on the board. So he already took it in that they got sickness. Yeah, and that's how he came across it. So as I said, to prevent it, we there was a press conference. The person making politics already, Mr. Gaiman, as I learned certain information I got from each side that I think the Ministry of Health said were complaining that it was not MPhil full responsibility in terms of announcing it and other stuff that should have come from the Ministry of Health. Was not MPhil. That's a ISA politics. Very close when people try to to play. Say that it was not MFA responsibility in terms of announcing people doing prevention, other stuff. They shall wait there for the Ministry of Health. You understand me? So that's how it's looking for now. But we would go through the conference for MFA, the National Public Health Institute. We'll listen to the release and to hear exactly what they say in the press conference they had. How many cases for now in Macerado, in other parts of Liberia. We'll definitely go through it. So we just taking it, watching how things going there. He has placed a the entire city, as I said, it's just looking very cool. People just cool and just monitoring because it is the every time there must be a disease or outbreak. So who are those here? Maybe he came across, or those are on board with him from Lofa back to Morovia. Who all knows who he came across, who he interacted with when he got back to Morovia to office before started to experience the symptom. So that's just how things looking like. And as I said, we'll listen to the MFA press conference to hear exactly what was exact message for us to put in place. But we hope the government shouldn't play politics with this 1 year because it's something that very serious, and we still monitoring and looking up to national government. We haven't seen that type of, it's not yet been harshly approached yet, maybe because of the cases, the numbers of cases. So they're not really engaging the public, the audience yet too much on it. But as I said, we shouldn't play politics with it.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, like Ansu just said, this is life and death. Even though we have not had anybody to die from it yet, it should not be political in nature. Dr. Nya is a researcher. He is the red man who does the medical stuff, who have in-depth knowledge. And if you were to ask, if you were to put somebody on the witness stand to answer questions about the epidemic or whatever is going on in Liberia, the best man or woman is the person from that particular department today. So as we look for the tip for us to play, we can say, I feel comfortable hearing from a medical doctor or researcher than hearing from a political mouthpiece like Jaralinka Pia, who is only reading paper that somebody gives him. He's the spin master. That's not what we want. We want somebody with an inside depth knowledge to come and calm the nerves of the Liberian people, that he knows what he's talking about, because he was talking about testing, he was talking about symptoms, he was talking about prevention from the medical standpoint, not from politics, not from PR, but from the medical standpoint. And I went to the CDC website. CDC, not the political party, but Center for Disease Control in the United States here. And it said, what are the first symptoms of monkeypox? And it says this: for some people, the first symptoms of the monkeypox is a rash. You get something we call like white crow, eh? You get some crow, small crow on your skin. While others may have fever, your muscle aches or sore throat at first. That's the beginning part. Your skin start itching, and you start feeling a little chill. You start shaking like you think it would be malaria, but it's not malaria. And then you start feeling something in your throat. You start coughing and all of that. The monkeypox rash often begins on the face and spread all over the body, extending to your palms. It can even show up in your palms, the hands, and then sores in your feet. Even at the soles of your feet, we talk about at the bottom of your feet. It shows up in your mouth, on your tongue. And we got to give credit, according to Dr. Nya, there was a famous Liberian comedian that contracted a disease. Ansu, I think you in Monroe, you might have heard it. He went on social media and exposed himself, told folks, ladies and gentlemen, look what's happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he reported himself, went to the hospital. This is the patriotic thing to do as a human being. You can't hide, you can't be embarrassed, you can't be shamed. If you have this disease, it is curable. And what the World Health WHO said today about Liberia makes sense. Liberia has the capacity, the ability, and the credential to fight this disease firsthand. We have gone through Ebola. We have gone through COVID. So Liberia is rightfully positioned to fight this disease. I also want to talk to the folks in the health segment and Ministry of Health and Dr. Myean and everybody else. You need to come to Truth FM and spread some of that money that the international community giving you. Give some of this, make sure our radio stations get some of that money to cut jingles, to cut a public service announcement, to put it in our colloquia, let the people understand. Don't tell the radio stations, don't tell closing argument to do it free. Yeah. We're working for the nation, we do it for the country, but then you come in your $100,000 car, air conditioner blowing you. You go there, you go eat your caviar, your big dinner, you eating it, you getting living on a hog, but then you telling Ansu that just do it for the government's sake. And then all that money come in and you're eating your big shots. Go to True FM, go to OK FM, go to King FM, go to Freedom FM, go everywhere. Let the word get out. Our local community radios, very important. Go to the community radio. They are very important. They are when you're talking about people in the trenches. So if you get funding for these kinds of emergencies, please go out and spend some of the money. Make sure that we get the thing in our colloquia. Let the people listen to it. Let them hear it if possible. Those who can see, who have access to data and a smartphone, they can look at what this disease does to people. And after you play, we find the tape and play, we would like for you to see what this thing does to the human body if you don't do the right thing. If you don't do the right thing, and they told us what not to do. When you find somebody having fever, don't shake their hands. If you got a stranger coming in your house, don't hug them. Don't sleep in the same bed. Don't take bath and use the same towel. Don't use the same towel. Don't eat in the same pan. Don't use the same spoon. Don't drink from the same cup. Wash your hands as often as you can. You remember during the COVID time, we're washing our hands 2, 3, 4, 5 times an hour. That's what you need to do. Stay away from the clubs. Stay away. I'm not saying don't go have fun, but be careful. Be considerate of other human beings. Welcome, Honorable Victor Namwe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gibbon. It is good to be here.
Great. We are talking.
What's up?
Ansu is he's looking for a tip for us. We are talking about the monkeypox. Yeah, the monkeypox that is now in our
Welcome, Mr. Namwe. Welcome.
Yes, sir. How are you, my brother?
Good. Good to have you on.
Hi, Monrovia.
Wow, we every day. So
you see Ansu looking good. You see Ansu looking his body and face. Everything looking good. The rescue mission is treating him very nice. He's being rescued.
No, I'm in my rescue corner.
I forgot. He's in the rescue corner.
Rescue
My rescue corner managing.
Mind your own business.
Yeah.
But oh, Ahmed, there you go. Ahmed, please pronounce your last name. How you pronounce that name? Is that your real name or that your stage name?
That name is a combination of my first and last name.
Okay.
So it's symphonic.
Symphonic. Okay. So welcome, Ahmed.
Yeah, good to see you, Jerome, and the great Victor Nangbe, the pillow of Liberia's democratic progress.
You want to take time off and finish your lunch?
I'm coming on set and he coming with praise, and he coming to punch you. So I'm waiting for that punch.
Not regular punch, but low blow.
How you doing, my brother? It's good to be with you.
Yeah, no punches. I mean, we're always excited when we see you people around. It reminds us of the journey the country have taken during its political time. I'm sure you didn't expect that with the number of sacrifices made since the early days of the progressive to now. I'm sure you didn't expect that Liberia would still be grappling with some of the political deficiency we see around here. So, it's always good to see you around. When we see you, then we are reminded that we need to do better so that the effort like you put in there cannot go in vain.
Well spoken. Welcome. What's up, Grace?
Honorable Namwe, watch out. When they praise him like he coming here to honor the bell, low blow, watch out. You're going to say you killed Torgbean. The next you're going to say you killed Torgbean.
I appreciate it nicely himself, but I'm still not dropping my guard. But let me say this, and I had a very long conversation with Chairman Ben yesterday. You guys, you do a lot too. These are different times, and so your methods and your strategies, your tactics are much, much different than we used at the time. But notwithstanding, you have your finger, I think, on the pulse of the now generation. You understand, where and how to meet them. And so, yeah, you guys, quite frankly, when we come on the set here, we gotta actually, make sure we're up on our game, because you guys, your analysis are pretty sharp. You, Ben, Tomalin, Sylvester, Robert, Julius, the resident, of course, our female sisters, Grace, Sarah, Siliki, the whole gang. So, yeah, it is really an honor to be in your company and trying to hold our own, to be honest with you, because like I said, Jerome and I, now you can disseminate your information much quicker, and your points of dissemination. We had to write our releases on typewriter, and sometimes you drop them on the seat at the bus stop, and 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. People who are going to work will be the first to see your releases. Tactics and methods vary, but notwithstanding, you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Continue to
just for a full disclosure,
let me work on the queen of straight talk, please. Okay. You gotta give it to her here. Welcome, Grace.
Thank you.
CMC Diaspora USA chair. She is not just a regular queen, but she is the chair of CMC USA, my boss. How you doing that straight talk?
Thank you, Mr. Jimmy.
So let me just do a disclosure. Perhaps
you can't just let me say thank
you. Sorry, I thought you're done.
No,
okay.
I just want to do the disclosure.
Just thank you. It's okay. You can come.
I just want to do the disclosure, so perhaps in your thank you can fire on it, because of course it will be something that maybe that was the low blow you've been talking about.
There you go. Here it comes. Wait for it.
I did an article today. Of course,
I got it. Don't worry. I got it right here. I got it right here. Oh, Paul, I got this stuff, my man. You know, I'm a CMC man. We be checking on all of y'all.
No, I missed it. I didn't see it, so I would like to, maybe after the show, I would like to read it.
But
so that's it.
We're working in tandem. We are a team. I got these guys. Got them on the radar. We're discussing with this. You see now, he thought he was doing it to us. He said Musa Belete was a pawn. Musa Belete, you know, but as a pawn. So we're coming to that. Don't worry. You see, you attack Musa Belete. You attacking me?
No, I wasn't. No. But that's not the intent of the article. Of course, you know the article. You know the article is part of a platform now called Truth in Ink that I release analysis on events unfolding in the country. Many of the views expressed in the analysis are not necessarily the views that I stand. I just analyze the different views already out there, the statements saying already, and put in context that can be consumed by reader, and then most importantly to evolve a conversation around these controversial issues. Sometimes some of the issues are issues that are partisan, that people wouldn't want to talk about. They have their own controversies sometimes, and so we just put it out there. So if you went through the files, you will see many different articles, some of which will have been from a CDC perspective. People will be surprised that I, as a leader within the party, will be making some of those comments. And so, of course, sometimes people from the Bwaka camp will say what they expect, obviously, about truth. So, it's just more of, in my view, an objective analysis of the event out there, but subject to criticism, subject also to, different viewpoint. But no, I did not go to attack Honorable Belete, who I respect immensely, who admire, and I call the emerging force of Liberian politics. That's how I refer to him in other conversation, but it was necessary to bring that conversation on board. So, yes.
I bet in American politics, they say when you are explaining, you are losing. Grace, you were in flight. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm explaining too much.
I know, right?
What make clear because I know you.
You see, I have it here. I got the article. It says here, Liberia, the pawn show, Kofat 4. The Musa Belete used him as a pawn. Can you? I told you as a victor, when this man started praising you, he started hitting low. You see what he trying to say here? He said Musa
Belete. How Belete can use somebody as a pawn when the thing is already out there? The 26 person that followed the man, the rule of law caucus, are the 26 person that voted in there for him. He did not tell anything to the government because everybody saw it in broad daylight. So, I know y'all want to write and everything. We all writing a few days, but let's just read the truth. Just saying, let's just say the truth. The people that were saying, he paid other people money. Somebody will down somebody $40,000 and I go vote for them. Let's be clear here. So that article should have been for the government. Because the government, they won't have people on a hostage. They were in hotel. They pay them money for months.
But to be fair, Grace.
I just fighting for the Liberian people just to show them that the law will work. Number one. Number two, when they say about me that I was paying these 70 people, it's not the case. Number three, at the end of the day, how the coin said, Richard could never have 49. They never have 49 to have remove fanatic Kufa. And that was the agenda right there. It was it clear.
Well, to be honest, he said he also said it was the overreach of the executive. So he said Joseph Boyka was the mastermind behind it all along. Joseph Boyka was. But anyway, we are coming to that.
But let me just quickly though. I didn't read the article, General. I know you want to move on to this topic, but to be a pawn, right? How can you be the antecedent and be the pawn? Because I would think in this case, Kofa, if you were looking for a pawn, we could say Kofa may have used Musa as a pawn in his game to whatever when eventually he was going to quit, but he used that to gain mileage. So I don't know how Musa could have. I don't get that.
So here is it.
And so we gave you only 2 minutes, oh.
Okay, yeah, just 2. So we said in the pawn game, Musa transformed Kofa's legal resistance into a broader caucus approach to prevent Kofa from ever conceding, simply not because, of course, he thought that Kofa could ever go back as being speaker, but until an agreement for a fresh speaker election was agreed to. And that he believed if that happened, he could contest and win. And so Kofa, as we defined the point, was prevented from earlier on dropping the case, moving on, knowing that, look, there's a government overreach. This was Garguah won. Never, I don't think I'm going to win. So we thought he created the caucus not as a means of hope, because when the Supreme Court eventually said, hey, Kofa, you are right, it was around the same time members of the caucus started to leave, because, of course, a proposal announced by Musa submitted to Ellie highlighted and agreed to that a new election could be here. And once that was the case, then I felt the caucus thought at least an objective has been achieved. They were going to a new election, in which I think Musa believed he could have won. So that's where the point thing.
I don't think Musa believed so much he could have won. That's why he went. Let's just be clear. They see Musa and he had not gone. You Hamed, they were going to sit on the same thing and say, oh, they pay him, or they promising something, or they did this. Musa was fighting for his credibility here. He was fighting for his credential as well, as he has been fighting since the Liberia. When they stick something, you remain there forever. He was fighting for that. Number one, he was fighting to say that we will stay against the status quo. Means that everybody here knows that it was all on the news here that Garguah has called these people and said they should get it into Kun. Everybody moon him for himself. But that's why the only person will run against Kun for them to have a vote in that house, in that chamber, so the Liberia can see that the law will work. So I don't understand how you're still thinking that he could do all of that at the same time. For this man to stay in front of the president, that one of your leaders there around here said they're making statement for the government, but they can't even open the mouth to call the government. They scared to even call Garguah. They're just making a statement, fake statement. Oh, that thing happening.
Who the leader you're referring to? Let me clear. There's a
okay, guys.
Let me explain myself, brother man. This man stood up and he said that, you know what? I will stand against the status quo, which is the government, although the president have called meeting and said we should just lead it and give it as soon as the man resign, they should just go to Richard Kun. He said, no, I will run. I have a choice. None of his colleagues did that. Because the people I tell you, all of them were just tired. So I mean, you should give somebody credit where credit due. You're like people, you say you want peace, you want everything to be all right in the country. Then the people who fighting for the peace, then you come against them. It's a shame, oh. It's really a shame.
Good. We will segue into me talking about Musa ability. During last week, the government of Liberia squeezed China Oil, whatever the name is, to rescind and remove Musa ability from an agreement between two consenting legal entities in Liberia that are employing Liberians. The government of Liberia would rather have Musa ability laid off, sacked. Employees, Liberian legally employed, they will prefer that these people be laid off than for Musa ability to share a tank. This is unbelievable. In a country where the unemployment is 92%, according to Martin Colley, that they will force Mutability to lay off employees and close down because they want him to quit, keep quiet, and leave the political scene. And he has said it won't happen. We'll discuss that, but let's get to today's topic. Senator G. Von Smith fired his administrative assistant, Mr. Grant, for having political ambition. He said Mr. Grant, unbeknownst to him, began to campaign and do exploration in Riverside County that he wants to run against Representative Grant. So Grant against Grant. G. Von Smith said Grant is a political ally that have worked with him, supported him in his political sojourn. So if anybody in his office attempt to run against him, he found out to be offensive and undermining his office, and he fired him. So we're going to discuss whether you are in the employ of your boss, whether it is an obligation before you run that he should give you to go ahead to do so. Is that the right thing to do? Is it right being violated? He has been fired. Told him to leave if you're going to run against my political ally. So he's putting friendship against the Constitution, maybe. Does he have a point? That if my ally and I are working together and we are doing everything, you are working in my office, you are working on my behest. And if you run against my ally may think that I'm undermining him. So to clear the air, you have to go and find employment elsewhere. What's the logic? Does it make sense? Is it legal? Politically, is it expedient? So we'll discuss that. And after that, we're going to talk to we're going to discuss Speaker Richard Combs prioritizing departmental empowerment and logistics in leadership reform, according to the Speaker. Number two, Senator Melvin Snow Jr. announced a resolution in Liberia's House of Representatives to his fellows at the ECOWAS. Then we're going to discuss the government announced expansion of water supply in Greater Monrovia to 2,500 households will benefit, according to the Water and Sewer. Like the old folks say, if someone who have lied to you before tell you it's raining, don't put your hand out there. You got to go outside in the middle of the town to make sure it's actually raining. Is it true? What happened in Bapolu when the water folks said that water was in Bapolu and Lofa, and the people are saying this is a scam. 750 feet never existed. Now he is saying we are getting 2,500 water people, household in Monrovia. Is it true? Should we believe this? Is it workable? Is it doable? Can we test that? We'll look at that. Liberia confirmed outbreaks of the mpox, the monkeypox virus, with 4 active cases launched nationwide vaccination exercise beginning this Monday today. Representative Samuel Anders criticized for allegedly assaulting a Chinese national, an action described as misunderstanding of the responsibility entrusted to him as an elected official. The National Port Authority accused the Southern Metal Steel of Liberia deliberately refusing to pay royalties for the use of Port of Buchanan, depriving government millions in revenue, according to them. The chief imam of Liberia, Honorable Kwayi, Imam Kwayi, said the legislature should be dissolved. They are useless and serve no purpose. President Joseph Boakai warns appointed officials of frequent travel outside of the country without proper notification. He calls for accountability in allocation and usage of foreign funds across all sectors. This is Joseph Boakai, who travel everywhere without telling folks, and he telling other folks, you're going to travel, you better let me know. Can you imagine? We'll discuss that. And then on the international front, Russia announces preparedness to work with Ukraine on a memorandum of understanding to establish a ceasefire after 3 years of conflict. So let's get started here. Let's go with G. Von Smith. Grace, look me in the face. If I were Mr. Senator G. Von Smith, my administrative assistant wants, let's say I'm vice president for administration for CMC, and some guy working for me decide you're going to run against Grace Guar without talking to me. Don't I have the moral and the legal obligation to say, if you're going to bring division in our CMC, I'm going to fire you? Don't I have that right? If G. Von Smith right to say, listen, I don't care if you have political ambition, but not from my office against my right-hand man.
Yeah, and I mean, I will speak on I will come from the human resources and employment relations side because I studied that.
That's why I came to you first.
Yeah. So in any employment, you have to make sure, even here, when there's certain office we want to run for, where I work, you cannot run for certain office within a state, especially when it comes to government. You know, it aligns with federal as well. So for me to do that, I will have to resign my position, and then I will put my bid in to run for that particular office. It's just the right thing to do. In Liberia, I don't know whether they have all of that. So you have to look at the employer side as well. You compromising what he stands for and what his fight is, especially when he has attachment with that person, or maybe the person is part of his office, or maybe they're doing business together. They could be, you know, partners in business, and then you're running against that person. Now, on the other side, the employee, I mean, if he knew he was running, he should have laid his information down before his employer said, look, I'm going to run for office and this, that, and the other. They gave him a certain benefit to choose to leave, and they gave him a package as he's leaving to put his bid in for that other office. So if he did not do it and he just decided to run, because there are no rules and regulations and with all the employers, and thank God that CMC wants to come to Liberia, because CMC wants to lead our country, because we'll put all those things in place. That employees will not be burned, employers also will not be burned. So right now, I don't know whether they have no proper information given to the people, but you can say that the employer acted on his rights. The employee took to say, you know what, there was no rules here, you never told me anything when I was getting hired, that I couldn't work for a second. It's not in your policy, it's not in your laws for the particular entity or the office or the institution or the organization that you run. So therefore you have no right to fire. Only the court now can decide that case. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Peabody, welcome to the show.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you, Mr. Nangwe, Sticky, and Grace. Good to see everybody.
Hey, Doc. What's up?
I'm well. I'm well.
Ahmed.
Yeah.
Senator G. Von Smith says Riverside County have been struggling with disunity. And finally, he was able to put the caucus together, and they are working collaboratively. Everything is going so far. And unbeknown to him, his administrative assistant decided to run against one of the caucus member without consulting him. He finds that as disrespect and actually undermining the cohesion that they have in Riverside. So he fired him. Your take on that particular issue with Senator G. Von Smith?
Well, I mean, in this game politics, of course, that is a serious red line. To serve as administrative assistant to G1 who suggests that you are part of his inner cycle. You understand and you know who his allies are. You were there perhaps during the period that he got elected, those different forces that might have come together to support his bid. And so as administrative assistant, you understand those facts. You know who his supporters are. And so when all of a sudden you announce a bid to go against one of those allies, in my view, you don't just intend to win an elections, but you intend to, of course, undermine the office in which you also serve. And I think Devon, of course, politically, he was in his right to have done so. He must be clear. I don't know whether he will contest, but of course, he one day will face election too. And he doesn't want to fracture his alliances that perhaps might have helped him get elected in the first place. And to see somebody that served in his office, somebody who have been there, somebody who knows other people, perhaps is clothed with many secrets, understands the different vulnerabilities of the different allies that he might be using in the election. Some of those allies go for lay push by, tape here, that there, and all the different secrets he's sometimes may be privileged to listen to. Now he come up, he wants to run. Of course, Devon politically has no option but to distance himself, and the best way to do so was to fire him. Besides, you have a job. How then do you leave that job to start running a bid 6 or maybe 6 or 9 years from now? It means you will not concentrate. Technically, he fired himself. and I think G1 just made it official.
Thank you. Honorable Nyenwolo, G1 Smith has an alliance to protect. He has the people to protect. He's serving them. After years of chaos, he finally has a caucus, and his administrative assistant decided to run, and unbeknownst to G1 Smith, he saw it on social media. And then when he called home, he was informed that a young man had 3 meetings in 3 different districts. Then he called a young man to a meeting. The young man said, "I'm not coming. You don't have any right to censure me." And he fired him.
Yeah. Well, look, I agree with Grace and Hammond on this. Full disclosure, I know Javon very well. We worked together for a very long time with the UPP. He's a junior brother, but he's a stand-up guy, and he values loyalty. And I agree with Ahmed. If I were this gentleman, I would first of all, sit with my boss and say, look, he didn't have to seek his permission. I get that, but I read up on this stuff. G1 is saying that this guy was very helpful during his election process, and so I think he saw that as being disloyal, and I would feel the same way. In fact, if this guy could run against this gentleman, he could probably run against the very G1 tomorrow, So, I really can't fault G1 on this one. I mean, politics, yes, you got to be ambitious, audacious, bold and all of that, but there are limits, there's just some things you can't do. So, if I were to advise this gentleman, you have, there's certain marks you just can't transgress. He has been in the belly of the beast. I'm sure he was with G1 during the campaign. He knows what these people did together. And so I believe this marks of some degree of disloyalty. I don't know the details. I don't know the gentleman at all. But from the face of it, that's what it looks like. And I cannot fault G1 at all for acting the way he did.
Honorable Peabody. This young man got the job to be administrative assistant, and he got it because somebody, the man he running against, were able to help his boss to get the job, and then the boss hired him. Then, unbeknownst to the boss, he started running against the boss' best friend. So the boss said, "Well, listen, I didn't even find out until I saw you on Facebook. Then when I called to River says, you have been in the trenches having meetings already with the chiefs and in different districts. Unbeknownst to me, your boss. You got to go."
So before people are kind of make it out, go to unbeknownst.
Those are the giveaway. I don't get how they hide the game,
Peabody, you see what the people are talking about with other people with So if Mr. Peabody, put yourself in G4's shoes, what would you have done?
Well, I wouldn't have fired him. I would have called him first and consult with him.
But he did call, but he refused to come.
He did that. Dr. Peabody, he did that, and he kind of literally told him to go to hell.
That's right.
I don't think that was the condition. He was hired based on merit to do certain job, and I don't think he should have put the political feelings into that. All right, I think if this guy did not answer, I think he should have made a lot of attempts to reach out to him, and in the absence of those attempts, then you could take an action and call him. But this man worked for you.
So what you saying, the employers should have begged him to are you kidding me? The employers should have begged him?
He didn't beg him for his political intention. That's not part of his job.
No, I mean the person who you saying should call him. You mean the person should have just called him and tell him he was supposed to be even doing that. He was supposed to tell his employer that I talk about the human resources and employment relation part of it. I'm not doing politics with this. He's supposed to.
Yeah, but there's the intention to run had nothing to do with his job.
No, it did.
How did it
But
be?
where you work, you can't run for a certain office. You know that? You
Well,
cannot.
I don't know what it was in this situation. It was not in this situation.
But that's why the employer
There was no condition here. What? No, he fired him based on emotion, political emotions. Yeah, we don't know whether he even made any attempt. He just wanted. I mean, it's like you telling me if this has something to do with my job, I won't run for that position. If my job tell me, hey, you can't run for you can't do certain things, you're not doing. You know, I work for the state of New Jersey. I've declared I got a nonprofit. I already told them that I fill out those forms, that a different form that they gave you, and you turn it into them. So, if you are involved in any outside activities or nonprofit, you have to register with the office, the ethics, and all of that, which I've done. But this job had nothing to do with it.
But what I'm saying to you, sir, is that when you're working within certain entities, especially when you're within government, there are certain offices you cannot run for. You have to resign your position before you can run for those offices. Now, we don't know whether the employer told him that before, but if it compromised the employer, as we all know now that the employer will compromise because the support of that particular person who is running as well has benefited this employer and the person, this employer.
I think it's just personal relationship. This guy had a personal relationship with his friend, and his workers is running against this person. Okay, if this was a private job that Jevon owned, a private company, yes, you can say, you know what, I call this man, I'm going to remove him. But this is a government job. This guy is your administrative assistant here. He's doing that job based on merits. So I don't see why he should be fired because he's running against his friend. You know, I mean, I don't see
information. Information.
Before you come in, I wanted to say something quickly with people before you can come in. Now, I understand what you're saying, and that's the problem with the Liberian system. So this now affects the two people involved, because the system is not setting a way for them to do those things. Even in the government, when a representative go and run for senator, when they go back to a representative position, it's not supposed to be that way. If you're running for that kind of office, you have to resign your position before you run for the next office. Then you don't get that position, you're not coming back. If you come back, you have to come again to run for that position, that representative position. That's how it's a universal rule. Like,
okay, it doesn't happen here though. People can run for other offices here, and they do win. They go back to the
Dr. Peabody, real quick. Yeah, Ahmed, go ahead.
Yeah, so those staffers that are employed in the offices of most of these lawmakers, you can technically consider it as private. They do not qualify as civil servants. They are staffers to the legislature. That is, by the time the legislature tenure is over, they are out of job. They don't go there. So they have the staffers assigned in the offices, and they have staffers of the legislature that under the administrator. Those ones are civil servants and are protected by those status. So I would have made a point to say, when you are in that office, you are technically, the words from the mouth of the representative or senator can become the law of that day.
More than that, look, let me say this. What this Grenfell did is equivalent to a declaration of war against the other guy. That's what this is. And I'm sure Jevon knows that
war.
Exactly. If Jevon allowed this guy to run against his colleague, while he's still associated with him, he knows that he has publicly declared war against his own friend. I don't think he was ready to do that. I don't think he was ready. I think this is unethical on the part of this administrative assistant, especially so that he did not even have the courtesy to give his boss the heads up. So there's just a whole lot of things that are happening here. But I myself, if I were in Jevon's shoes, I'll be honest with you, I would tell him, you know what? Thank you very much. You can go and set up your campaign offices wherever you want to, but you're not going to be running from my office. You'll not be associated with me, because this is equivalent to a primary. Jevon is practically going to primary his colleague. That's what this is about. So I think it's deeper than that.
Ahmed, real quick, then we can move on to the next topic. in my office, I have a policy here, and it's universal. Insubordination. Anywhere you go. If your boss calls you to a meeting and you deliberately refuse to go, that's insubordination. You are fired. Grace, you are the HR person. Talk to us about insubordination.
Oh, I mean, they will fire you in 12 hours. In 12 hours, you're gone. There is no way that you are being requested by your office and you don't show up. They're not tolerating that. They might probably send you one warning, and that will be it. After that, they're packing all your satoka, like Bremen will say, they're packing all your satoka and they will send it to you. Yes. So insubordination is a ground for termination. Period.
Well, I don't. For me, I don't see this as an insubordination. You know, if he was not reporting to work, he was not doing his job, and his boss called him and refused, then you can fire him. That's the clear definition of insubordination. But you calling me on my personal issues to address personal issues because of your friend. There's a personal issue. You know, this should be out of the job. You know, even though you're the boss, but how is that related to my responsibility in your office? I did not violate any laws in your office. I did not
create instability. Part of Jivan's job is to manage or perhaps supervise, represent the county of Riverside. The elections involved will take place in Riverside. It could create instability, political instability, at a time where he needs the Riverside caucus, the Riverside county to unite. That effort, that approach obviously undermines his own vision to unite the county, because of course the person with whom his staffer, a man who he provides financial support to, resources to, as a result of employing the office, is going to use that to create a movement that could undermine the stability. And you say that is the personal thing that he also business. No, it is within the confines of Jivan's authority, Riverside County. So of course the others will come to him. Jivan, we see this boy with you every day at the Capitol, but he's here. Say we must go against Grant. Do you know about it? Against mixed signals, and that's what you don't want to do politically. You do not want to be giving mixed signals, mixed messages, bro. Jivan was right.
I think depriving the young man of the opportunity to lead his people as well. I think these are some of the problem we have. They want to look down on other staff. They don't want to give them the opportunity to move forward. You know, every job will give your staff the opportunity to advance to the next level. And this young man, having been trained by Jivan, know that he had the political capacity and is able to move on. I think there should have been a amicable solution to this issue rather than just outright going on.
But if you're moving on and you undermining the very boss that we work for, then
undermining. I think they should have negotiated.
Mr. Gamer, can you check your WhatsApp?
Yeah.
If you move on, you check.
Okay, let's move on.
In case of undermining right there.
Let's move on.
Not undermining. It's just that I think he just uses political power and thing. What if you move this man come back and beat your friend? What's different?
Okay, guys, let's go. Let's move to the next topic. Where Joseph Boyka said, when something running behind you, you don't stop until the thing that running behind you stop. So you are always in a political campaign. You are always running. And Jivan Smith know that when anything running behind you, don't stop until the thing that chasing you stops. And camping is a 9-year thing. You're running camping every day. If a young man coming stand on fire, it's gonna chase you. So you better run from it. Let's go to number 2 here, guys. Let Joseph Boyka keep running because they team running behind Richard Kuhn, Speaker Richard Kuhn, prioritizing departmental empowerment and logistics in leadership reform drive. And I'll read one, then we'll go on to it. Is it in continuation of his leadership reform initiative at the House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Richard Nyenwolo Kuhn, has disclosed plans to strengthen key administrative departments by ensuring they are fully empowered through dedicated budgetary allocation. Speaking during a leadership meeting held on Monday, which is today, Speaker Kuhn emphasized the need for departments, including the Office of the Chief of Clerk, Sergeant at Arms, Legislative Information Service, LIS, and the Department of Press and Public Affairs to each have a specific budget line item inserted in the House budget. Honorable excuse me, Namwe, you ain't got to see any Namwe Kun.
So you want get Namwe the speakership?
Listen, Namwe, I cry. All of y'all from the Southeast are crying you speaker at this point. Now let's talk about
that speaker said that when you turn that thing, it can be happening to you. You can get Mr. Namwe the speaker.
Oh, okay. Mr. Namwe, are you in the United States or in Liberia?
I am in the U.S.
Okay, good. So they can have armed men around your house. But your take on the consolidation here, what Kuhn is trying to do here, because look, the top position in the house, you talk about the clerk, you want to take care of the clerk, you want to take care of the sergeant at arms, you want to give them budget allocation, you want them to look good after you come from a brutal fight. Your take on this strategy?
Look, I don't want to sound like, he's a sole loser, he's supportability for the speakership. And so, I'll give Kundi, I'll give him the space. But quite frankly, I think if this is maiden project as the speaker of the Republic of Liberia, that to me, that's being very, very minimalist. Is that really the big issue? Really, that's really this country is experiencing, that the clerk of the House of Representatives does not have a budget line item in the budget? Is that really the big issue? Kofa had pledged to audit the House. How about he lift that issue up, right? Kofa had pledged to streamline, the budget process. The last budget, when they approved it, they took it to the national, it got fingered. Nobody is talking about that. Is he going to talk about that? What about all this, the money that changed him from Luther Collins report and all of these people? Is he going to talk about that? So, I want to give you the space. I hope he will get to them, but I didn't expect this would be his first major move, that he's making. Besides that, it smacks to me like somebody who's looking for some kind of way to chop in our Liberian, situation. When you start doing this kind of thing, you're looking for, conduits to convey, whatever little brown envelope you want, to your office. So I'm waiting for him, but I had hoped that he'll be making some bold and, very, very major announcements of what he intends to do. So to me, I think this is being very, very, minimalist. I hope I'm not prejudging him. Like I said, I want to give him the space, but I'm not impressed.
In politics, they say charity begins at home. Political charity begins at home. The chief clerk follow you during the illegal activities. She follow you where you went. The sergeant at arms follow you. Now that you are legitimized and you have the budget, look what he said. He said, in order to make the department more effective and proactive in its operation, I have instructed the Committee on Ways, Means, and Finance to ensure that budget lines are factored into the upcoming national budget. The man has played. He said, I told you, y'all do it. Y'all put it there. I have instructed you. Ways, Means, you got to do it.
Well, when we elect people with a proper vision, obviously those are the things you have. And as Anangwe said it all right. I'm releasing an article on Richard Kuhn, hopefully on Wednesday. It focuses on his statement, I will be a regime speaker. It tells us that the spirit of separation of power, check and balance is dead. It means that obviously that part of our constitution is not just an administrative blunder, but it's a constitutional betrayal, because that is a requirement in the Constitution. Now, Richard Kuhn comes to power, perhaps the first working Monday, as Mr. Nangwe said. He does not focus on the audit, which is the most important transformation that the House of Representatives needs right now. It must be audited. That's the only way you can start empowerment. You must understand how you have used budget that have been allocated over the years, how effective it has been, what results have come thereof. Having not been able to do so, and then you call it again for additional expenses, only suggests, of course, an attempt to create corridor for more money. So what should be among his priority, including ensuring the order of the House, is to reassure the public that the legislature, the House of Representatives, can become an independent voice, can become the voice that provides that check and balance that our governing system needs. Inability to do so, and then talk about departmental issue, talk about the maintenance department in get plier, talk about the drivers don't have gas in the car to go to in fact they shouldn't be buying gas now from gallon, they must be getting gas slips regularly. And talk about his drivers. They must include amongst, they must not include uniform in it. I mean, those are the kind of conversation we should be having in this critical time. When, of course, we hear our market women complaining about hardship in the country, when the independence of the legislature has been compromised, of course, the judiciary has been completely eroded, and then you come and telling us about departmental stuff. Those should be the working of people that collect and who, of course, we hear say they own rule and order kind of thing. That kind of suggestion should be coming to his desk, perhaps from the chief administrator, from the chief clerk. But the fact that the speaker go, that's a vision for the country, my people. This is where we are. We went nowhere. I'm telling you, the 10 highest ranking men in the country and the first branch of government, major concern is how they can increase the gas in the employee boss. Yeah.
Dr. Peabody, listen, is there anything wrong with taking care of those that took care of you? Listen, when it was rough, this woman went with the speaker wherever the majority was, according to the executive. The sergeant arm were there stopping people from going in. Now that you have won, isn't it time to say, well, to the winners go the spoils, right? That's politics. So we now win, we divided. He said, I have instructed the Committee on Ways, Means, and Finance to ensure that the budget for these folks are carried out immediately.
You know,
this is the speaker. Hey, listen, to the winner goes the spoil. We got to split this thing now, the loot. We robbed the bank. We win. We got a thing with. Hey, there's anything wrong with taking care of your own. Charity begins at home.
You know, let me buttress what the other has said. You know, like what Mr. Nangwe said. You know, we talking about serious things here. You know, Fonati wanted to audit you, and that's why you form a gang to remove him. So why not carry on that vision? Say, since you want to be transparent, you wore a T-shirt called "The Law Is the Law." You want to be transparent. Part of upholding the law is transparency. Why not say, hey, let's go over let audit from where we started or where we came from. Let's go over audit the last year, the 2 years, and see what's in this, so that the Liberian people can see that we are a new group, we are credible. We assisted 6 months. We're out of this place because we wanted to do something. But you coming in, but I mean, one of the reasons the man ran on is because of money business, for them to get money. They had thousands of dollars that they siphoned in different ways. So now he coming back, he controlling the money that they wanted now. He's adding all kind of the committee for the chopping. And out of all the other committee, he's going to get some of the chopping from each of them. That's how a lot of them, they spend even money within that in the house that were allocated for even office supplies and things. They ate thousands of dollars. That's why they don't want to be audited today. Thomas Fala and the Red them don't want to be audited because they went so low as far, even office supplies, they were eating the money, they were misusing the money and things like that. Those are things you come up with so that Liberian people can say, oh, the man is not joking. But you coming out and talking about, oh, that added people gas, all the other one. Is that any serious pressing matter for the country? I think they should be talking about what's happening now, how the economy is going to be like and stuff like that. Nobody cares. You talking about those kind of little things that make no sense and bring nothing real to the table. Well, he has a seat now, so he will rather control the way he want to control. He got the money in his hand. He got a way of helping out with the budget. Like Siddiqui said, the regime speaker. So he rather demonstrating it right now.
Well, now we close up on this one. There are other folks that will say, listen, the speaker got 5 more years or 4.5 more years. He will do all the big things, but for now, let him take care of his office. Set the base. So what you say about that argument? The man got 4 more years. I'm talking like Anthony Kessler now. We got 4 more years. We do a lot for now.
Thank God, Anthony Kessler is now subtracting from 12 years, he's subtracting from 6 years. But listen, they say if the Christmas will be good, right? Yeah. You check out what happened on the eve, right? So the man is coming into being right now. He has political capital right now. This is when he is supposed to initiate a big project because he has some capital. He got some chips to call in and stuff like that. His political capital will begin to dwindle the longer he's going to be in the office. And so I would think that, and besides, you want to come in with a bang, right? You want to hit, with a splash, and not for the sake of showmanship or making news, but you want us to know what your seminar or your major projects, what your initiatives are going to be. I would think on the very first month or so in office, or first 2 or 3 days, you make your major pronouncements. So I don't think it is strategic for you to put your major projects or your major undertakings at the tail end of your term in office, because sooner or later, the opposition, the rumbling will begin. The so-called majority of blacks, sooner or later, you're going to be faced. I believe they're already there. People have reported, that they themselves are having difficulty just maintaining. So now will be the time, when that unity seems to still have, all of the support. I would think if I were advising him, I far for it for me to advise him. But if I were to mention to him, I would think, put your major projects up first away, and put them up, and let's begin to work on them. The little ones they can come later, not the other way around.
Great. There's an article that was written by our utmost servant, Ahmed Stefanik. And the title of the article is The Porn. Not pornography, porn.
Man, your wife was soon ask you to take a break off the air.
Yeah, I just want to make it sure. We're gonna go into that, but Ahmed, just introduce the topic, because the reason I want to do that, I want to segue into Senator Snow. Talk to me about your brilliant article. I love the article. I read it. Can you talk to me briefly about your article so I can segue into Edwin Snow?
All right, so we just summarize it. The article identified 3 persons in this porn game. 1, Bonsability. 2, CDC and Thomas Fowler. Of course, that includes Kofa. And then 3, Joseph Boakai and the Executive Mansion. We thought that it was a game that was being played. And with their ability, having strategically organized the Rule of Law Caucus as a means of putting up a legal resistance to Kofa's removal, we wonder as to whether there were other objectives, considering that in the height of that fight, Belete was reported to have negotiated with Jeremiah Kuhn that should there be a speaker election, Kuhn should direct the NEMA caucus to provide him the support. We thought that presented a contradiction, because how can the loudest voice against an illegal process be then quietly negotiating a pathway to benefit from that process if it turns? So we thought that the Rule of Law Caucus resistance, they held Kofa hostage. You cannot surrender. You cannot resign. No way. Until perhaps there was a possibility for a new election that we thought then Beletim and the rural of Koko could benefit from. So once those things were being seen, Beletim and the rural of Koko dropped the resistance. 2-3 days after they got amended from the court, you are right. You have won the case. Justice is within your hand. Bam! The root of law Koko, some of his members started to leave. Bam! A proposal was sent to Ellen. New elections. Here come Bwaka and his gang dishing up money, defying the court order, ensuring that Kofa is removed, but through all of the means except the legal path. So we summarize all of those and ask the question, was he a pawn between these different forces? But at the end of the day, we summarize our article to say, regardless of Belette's own ambition or the CDC's own inability as being alleged not to have effectively protected Kofa, Joseph Bwaka was the major player here. He orchestrated, he implemented, he ensured that our laws were violated. He changed the speaker. He effectively destroyed the independence of the third branch of government. I mean, just trying to summarize, but I would suggest that you take time out, read the article. It's on my page called Truth in Ink. We produce different articles on different topics daily. We are in collaboration with the Oracle newspaper. So I think that's right. But you go add, you get an article right in front of you. You can add up, you the moderator. I didn't want to go through to read the whole thing, but you can highlight different points that perhaps you think we could throw lights on.
Great. We'll talk to that. Let's segue into the next topic here. We're coming back to that. It is Senator Edwin Melvin Snow Jr. announced a resolution in Liberia's House of Representatives to ECOWAS. Senator Snow Jr., who leads the Liberia delegation at ECOWAS Parliament, has addressed the regional body regarding the recent conflict within Liberia House of Representatives. In his communication, Senator Snow confirmed that the dispute had been peacefully and legally resolved. The tension in the legislative body garnered widespread attention, raising concerns over the stability of governance in the country. However, the situation has since normalized with the election of a new speaker, Richard Cohn. The pivotal change is expected to foster a more cooperative and productive environment within the House. This is Edwin Snow. The reason I'm segueing into this, there was an article written today by someone, a very great young man from Grand Bassa County by the name of Apollo Jackson. And he mentioned Edwin Snow. Edwin Snow is a politician who has no enemies but has no friends. He matches with anybody who is within the spectrum at a given time. This is Edwin Snow that was criticizing, going everywhere, criticizing Boykai and everything else. Now, all of a sudden, Edwin Snow is having tea with Joseph Boykai. He is now the biggest advocate for Richard Cohn at the parliament. He's telling them that everything. This is a guy who has no permanent friends, has no permanent enemies. He just go with the wind. Mr. Dr. Peabody, your cousin, Snow said, by your information, you're from Grand Bassa. Edwin Snow said he's coming home to Grand Bassa by extension of Riverside to run for the Senate. But this is a guy who the writers are saying he has no permanent friends. Don't think he's your friend, but he's not your enemy anyway. But he goes wherever he hangs his clothes. Like Kakula Kotoa, he hangs his clothes wherever the sun shines. Like the people.
Look. The people. What do people say? They say in politics is interest, right? They say politics is you don't have a permanent friend in politics.
That's right.
So that and Snow is utilizing it right. You know, you got to. If Snow is friendly with every government, he's in there. He's making the enjoying every government. Snow can see a way out there in every government. So the thing is, there's no. If if you wait for Snow to God tell you that you got 100%, that's a waste of time because Snow is moving. You see, Snow we're having a high powerful ECOWAS summit today, and he was heading that whole group and that whole meeting today. He was chairing for the United Nations. So Snow said, you know what? I didn't recognize him, but now he's the speaker. I gave him official support, and that's what he's doing now. He said, I will advocate for you. You better like it. I'll go places and do everything to ensure. So now the next thing we'll see Speaker Kun at the ECOWAS Parliament very soon. He'll be there and speaking as well.
Mr. Namwe, prior to Senator Snow going to ECOWAS, he was showing the photograph with him and Joseph Boakai having tea. So Mr. Epwala Jackson said, Snow is a politician who has no permanent enemies, no permanent friends. And then your best friend, Kekula Koto, he said, I hang my clothes where the sun is shining. So what's wrong with Kekula Koto Jr.? Edwin Snow hanging his clothes where the clothes, where the sun is shining. Why should I go hang my clothes where it's raining? It makes no sense.
Look, Edwin Melvin Snow is a consummate Liberian politician. I mean, I don't know. I have absolutely nothing to say about this except to say Senator Snow is playing a game like he has always. He understands the Liberian political DNA. Is the Liberian politics is all in his DNA. I think he knows what he's after. But quite frankly, I think he throughout this conflict, he made clear that this was not good for the country. He made clear that it was leaving a black mark on the country. And as a representative of ECOWAS, he was conveying to us, how the region is interpreting, was interpreting what was happening here. So I can understand if you were to go back to the region and to inform them that, look, the matter, no matter how it was resolved, has been resolved. We now have a speaker who was legally elected, and Liberia is back in business. So I don't have much to say about this. I've heard today. I thought somebody was going to mention somewhere. I heard the Senate cannot account for $200 million. Somewhere I read that. I haven't seen it anywhere else yet. It's something I have to authenticate, but if it is true, that is a problem.
Welcome, Siliki. How Paul Kagame doing, man?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. K, man. It's doing great.
I'm asking you how Paul Kagame do. You laughing? What's funny about my question?
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great. Yeah,
he's doing great. Okay, Ahmed. The representative said the election of Speaker Rachel Kun marks a new chapter for the House of Representatives as it seeks to address key issues facing Liberia and work towards national development. The ECOWAS community has expressed its support for Liberia political development, emphasizing the importance of stability in the region. Edwin Snow said everything has been done legally. The recent dispute, which could have threatened our legislative process, have been effectively managed, demonstrating our dedication to peace and governance. This is Mr. Snow. Man, he's speaking. I mean, this man is representing us. What do you say about a man who is so eloquent?
Well, actually, that presentation wouldn't be sufficient to judge him in terms of being dubious. I would think he provided a report that is reflective of perhaps what the government, what maybe even Fonati and maybe any true patriot Liberian will want to see as being the picture out there, regardless of the crisis at home. However, we are concerned, not because of the report he gave, but because of the actions over the last few days. We saw him in a meeting with Boakai a few days after. So we just want to go back a little bit on 30 seconds. Snow has been accused of saying he wants Boakai to fail. Having when that statement made viral, we heard Snow on the houses on the Senate chamber trying to clarify and justify his statement, or perhaps trying to roll back his statement, sounding much more apologetic. A day or two after, we saw Snow with Bwaka, quote-unquote, reconciliation. What that says to me is that all of Snow's strong voice, all of Snow's action, everything he might have done over the last few months was calculated to gain access to the presidency. As Milton Tiaje would say, we will throw the bazookas continuously until we have access. And when we do have access, what's the need of throwing the bazooka anymore? So, of course, it is the typical Liberian politician behavior. I think Snow never had any fundamental ideological difference with Bwaka. He always sought a path to hold a relationship. Because, remember, before this election, Bwaka has said, according to Snow, sent him a text, said, Melvin, you will pay for this. After he accused that Snow had taken some money from Wea to him, and then later on it became a public conversation. Bwaka, in response, texted Snow and said, Melvin, you will pay for this. Snow now recognized that Bwaka is a vindictive person. He wouldn't forgive. I think all along for the past month, Snow's goal was to see how he could reconcile that, how he could get back in the good graces of Bwaka. And he thought the best channel was to go a little high, was to be difficult. And of course, his friend and brother Jeremiah Kuhn, who could have been his vice president 2029 as per their plan, wanted that relationship to be solved. And today, Snow was able to solve that. I think he's good. Bringing it to perhaps the fourth president that Snow has again been in their good graces. That is MO. That's why he always wanted. Snow is not a politician who wants to take that revolutionary approach, who want to be against. Snow is a politician who wants to be on the table. If things are not good and they should be fixed, he wants to be part of the people sitting on the table to fix it and not out there. So, of course, it is Snow is only being Snow. Like one would say, a snake is a snake. So that's it. Snow is Snow.
Siliki, here is Richard Nixon, one of the best orators of all time. And then again, Ronald Reagan, America has no permanent enemies or permanent friends or permanent interests. Here is a politician, Edwin Snow, whose interest is to be in the good graces of any president that comes. So what's wrong with him coming to Joseph Boakai now and Richard Coon and singing praises, telling the whole world that the best thing that ever happened to Liberia besides sliced bread or cornbread when you're from Orange Grove, it's not only cornbread, but Richard Coon and Joseph Boakai. What's wrong with that? Isn't that what politicians do?
Look, again, good evening to everybody. So good to be here. And look, Mr. Game, I'm not a supporter of the ruling party or the president or even Senator Snow. But, I just want to ask my brother Sidiki, if today Joseph Boakai send you an invitation to meet with you, will you reject it because you are an opposition or critics to his government?
No, I wouldn't.
I believe nobody will want to reject an invitation from the president. And for me, I think this is something we should try to elevate from. I'm not saying, Snow is not a guy who always wants to align himself with people in power. That's not what I'm saying.
Can I ask you a question too?
No, I'm coming. Hold on. Let me end up, please. Let me end up. I just want to make a quick clarification. But this is what we Liberians do. We hold other people to certain standards, but when it comes to us, we don't set the same standards for ourselves. And most of the people who are criticizing Senator Snow, I don't know him, by the way. I don't know him apart from knowing him publicly that he's a senator, he's a politician in Liberia and all of that. And I don't support him. I believe he's part of the problem in Liberia, because of his long stay in the legislature, not being able to do what is needed for him to do, except migrating from one district or county to another. But I just wanted to set that record straight. But Mr. Gaming, you know, the very people who are criticizing him meeting President Parker, if they are given the same opportunity to go and sit with President Parker, they're not going to refuse or reject. They will definitely take advantage or do exactly what's not did to go and meet with him. If possible, they will even be defensive of the president more than Senator Snow. You know, and that's Liberia. For me, you know, I don't think that's a big deal. And, you know, as Mr. Kumis always, made this statement, you know, the kind of politics we expect, you know, politicians to always get involved with, that kind of opposition and, you know, harsh, you know, way of opposing to government. What have they done for us? You know, we do that all the time, but what is the result? You know, at the end of the day, you know, have they really given us any kind of good result that when you oppose a president or the ruling party and you don't even want to have a second thought of meeting that person, and as soon as you even thought of meeting the president, you are seen to be like somebody who want to compromise and all of that. For me, I don't think that's an issue, because at the end of the day, what is more expected from this administration is to live up to the promises they made to the Liberian people to do, you know, whether Snow supporting or not. If they are not meeting up to those promises they made to the Liberian people, definitely, you know, the Liberian people will hold them accountable. We are seeing a reality in Liberia. For me, that's just my own take on that. And lastly, before I close, you know, Silika was in the back, you know, watching the show. I hear you spoke about, you know, Musa ability, you know, and again, I'm not a member of Musa Party, you know, and I don't, you know, believe the CMC, you know, platform. I don't even know if they have a platform, you know, and by the way, I'm an opposition to that party. But I don't believe that, you know, Musa tried to get into a negotiation. That's an allegation. You don't have any proof on, you know, that you go and read an article, you know, mentioning that in your article that he entered a deal with Jeremiah Kun to get the support from the Nimba Legislative Caucus to make him speaker, and disregarding Musa's commitment to Funanti Kofa, you know, all the insult, the attack, you know, this man went through doing that crisis, and you disregard that. You just try to bring in something that is not, you know, factual. You don't have fact to prove that, and you just bring this up because, you know, because of your own, you know, perceived analysis of what of you. For me, I think it's unfair to Chairman Peletier. We should not be doing this, you know. And you read a whole article. I saw that thing, but I didn't read it like Mr. Gaiman, you know, mentioned that he went through it. You read a whole article about that thing, you know, and you come on the show say Musa entered a deal with Jeremiah Kun to give. And by the way, the Legislative Caucus of Nema County voted against Musa ability. So what will you say about that? So for me, I think when having a kind of conversation, let's do it out of sentiment because we don't support somebody, you know. And then what will you say about George Weah and the CDC? You know, how well they supported Funanti in the crisis more than Musa ability. You know, and you come to accuse him just like that. You don't have facts, no proof, nothing. And this is quite unfortunate.
I'm a shot fire.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Thank you. I have to get Ahmed. Welcome, Mr. Garguah. Ahmed, the man, he didn't attack you, but he mentioned your name. Answer real
fire. So I would tell the junior brother, when you come on these platforms and you want to engage, it is better to be informed. The fact that he had not read the article disqualifies him from discussing it effectively. And that is why he provided misinformation, erroneous ones, because the article did not accuse Belete, except that it referenced Belete's own confession that he had asked Jeremiah Kun for the Nema's support if a new speaker election was held. That is a public fact. Both Belete and Kun alluded to that fact. So is that something I made up? The article was not intended to denigrate Belete, but rather to expose the government's involvement in its ability to put up the different pieces in power. So I would suggest not to go back, read the article first. If you did, you wouldn't be saying that. So let's go to the issue about Snow. And just for full disclosure, myself, I had the chance. I flew with Madam Celine when I was CDC youth chairman, opposed to her. I flew with her. I collaborated with her at at some point in the interest of the country. On one of our first trips as president, she invited me on to give a united front of our country outside. When she started the lobby, we went to Nigeria, Paris, and all of those. We encouraged our standard bearer at the time, George, we have to accept the position as peace ambassador, but more so to have gone to the Dead River Conference to work along with the government. Those are different instances. When Bwaka said he invited for them to reconcile, then it comes out, what are they reconciling? Because Snow has said your government was doing this, you will reconcile that? Is that the basis of an invitation? No. People of opposing view can meet to find common ground on the national interest. But to reconcile your view so that by tomorrow morning you now become a spokesman, no, it's a contradiction. So, for example, Mobake Molu is now leading a protest against Bwaka as a result of what he termed mismanagement, misgovernance. Tomorrow, Bwaka invites Molu. Day after tomorrow, Molu now become, Bwaka is the best government we've ever seen. When did he know that? It should be a concern we were raised. That is why we are saying this. No, we are not against opposition people. In fact, we believe that it should happen. There should be dialogue. People should engage. You should engage by presenting on the table what you think is the best platform for the country. Not tomorrow morning, just wake up without any change in situation, without any change in policy, without any change. You then wake up and become the spokesman of the government. And so then it raises concern. That is what we are saying. So, my GM brother, listen, when you come here to critique, do so from an informed background. Other than that, brother, you'll be crucified.
Thank you.
Let me just
So I suggest again to you.
Okay, guys.
On that article thing, go back and read it. On the single thing, you can't cheat.
I was going to based on a statement on the show.
Let me make this a dialogue, Sneaky.
Yeah, so that's it.
Let me welcome Robert Garguah. How you doing there, Chief?
Thank you, my senior brother. Thank you so much. Great to be back home.
You are a fan of Edwin Snow. I can tell the way you're smiling, Robert Garguah.
Oh, please, please. This is a very reputable platform. No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Edwin Snow. Absolutely not.
The senator have written a beautiful letter to ECOWAS expressing Liberia's satisfaction that we are now back to number one and the great graces. And he went on to say the great things about the man. But then we segue into something that was written today by Epwala Jackson, where he said people like Snow are people who don't have any permanent enemies or permanent friends. And then we juxtapose that with a statement of the late Kekula Kwoto, who always says, "I hang my clothes where the sun is shining." Your take on Edwin Snow's, I mean, I don't know whether he's a chameleon or what is he, but he's smooth. The guy is, today he's hanging with Joseph White guy. I mean, he's drinking tea. He's not, talking good thing about Jeremiah Cone. What's going on here?
Well, first of all, I think what you see on display, from my perspective, is the political norm in Liberia. This is what understanding. When people often say, people don't understand Liberian politics. What they are essentially saying is, Liberia politics has no standards. Liberian politics, the operation of Liberian politics, is not founded on integrity. It's not founded on principle. People literally do not stand for anything, right? And so the critic of the day could possibly become a praise singer of those that they criticize. Listen, I'm all for. I don't think just because you criticize the government or because you are a critical voice of the government, it somehow does not mean that there's some beef or there's this enmity, right? I don't think that's right. there are people who genuinely do not support certain policies, and I think they are within their rights to express that. And that doesn't mean, just because I don't believe that Joseph Boakai is a good leader, just because I don't believe that Joseph Boakai has exhibited experience or everything that got him elected, doesn't mean that I cannot meet with the president. But the expectation is that once you become a critical voice of the president or any leader for that matter, as you know, as long as certain lines are not crossed. And what I mean by that is, you will not insult my family. You will not, you will not threaten my family. There's certain things I would not consider. There's certain things I would not have done against my person for political reasons. And then the next day we're all cool and buddy buddies. No, I don't play those kind of games. But just because you criticize the president doesn't mean you cannot meet the president to have serious discussions. I think the issue with Edwin Snow is Edwin Snow over the years have proved that he's been consistent in one thing. And that thing is, wherever or however he gets political favor, he goes. Wherever or however it benefits him politically, he goes. And it changes his perspective on national issues. Remember, Edwin Snow was on this very platform a few weeks ago. And Edwin Snow was very, very strong when it comes to how Joseph Boakai has led. He was very, very strong when it comes to the rule of law. He was very, very strong on all of these different issues. Now, suddenly, he's writing ECOWAS to express to ECOWAS that everything is good in Liberia. How? How is everything good in Liberia? An election at the House of Representatives does not negate the fact that laws were broken. This government have ignored the ruling of the Supreme Court. Let's not forget that. The Supreme Court ruling were ignored by this government. In fact, I believe Kofa was forced into this resignation. The rule of law was not followed. Due process was still not given to Kofa. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. And so to say that everything is not good, specifically, I'm not even going to go to all the other issues when it comes to the economy, when it comes to security, all of these issues. But when it comes to the rule of law and what we have experienced over the past few months, to say everything is not good only because you met with the president, not even knowing the details of the conversation, I'm not against Edwin Snow meeting with the president. I'm not against anyone meeting with the president. Listen, I could meet with Joseph Boakai today. But if I were to meet with Joseph Boakai today, it's not to come the next day and say, you know what? Because I met with the president, so everything, all of the issues that I had with his leadership has now been resolved. No, my conversation with the president will be similar to the one in public. Mr. President, you failed the Liberian people. Mr. President, you have not led. Mr. President, you have not shown experience. I will be honest with the president. These are not things that happen in meetings with leaders. People who are the louder voices, once they meet with these leaders, they become the softest voices in public space. And you know exactly what's happening. And so I have no quarrels, I have no issue with Edwin Snow meeting with Joseph Boakai. My issue with Edwin Snow and others is a reflection of the political norm in our country. Once they have access to the president, everything is good. Once they do not have access to the president, everything is bad. So their perspective about, how the president is doing has nothing to do with the true reflection of the day-to-day livelihood of the Liberian people, those they represent. It's not better. It's better in itself. It's about self. He's good now. Everything is good now. ECOWAS no longer have to come to Liberia. No, there's no issue no more because Edwin Snow now have access to the president. This is the reality. This is not just Edwin Snow. I'll give. This has happened in the past with Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf. We've seen people who were very critical of Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf suddenly became a representative of the government under Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf. These things happen all the time, and I believe it's a reflection of the fact that many of these people who have these opinions are not about the people. It's not real. It's about self. And once they have achieved that goal, everything is okay.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of the closing argument. Today we have a foreplay. This one, please, we want to be honest because the author of this statement says we should take this seriously and we should discuss it. And I'm going to read it. This is from Chief Imam Krayi of the Republic of Liberia. And he said in jest, the Imam of Liberia criticizes the legislature as a national tragedy. He says issues that have existed for decades cannot be resolved by mere elections in the House, and until all of these things are done, he suggests strongly that the legislature should be dissolved. Honorable Namwe, the chief imam of Liberia says these guys are useless. They're worth nothing, and this is a tragedy. They should be dissolved. Anything other than the desolation of the Liberian legislature is a disgrace, and it wouldn't happen, and it's a tragedy. This is what he wants to discuss. He meant it. It was a fiery speech. I listened to him. Your take on his take on the Liberian political affairs.
Yeah, I didn't listen to this speech, but the point he's making, I think it cannot be denied that our legislature is a disappointment. Yes, my current political leader of the CMC is in there, and I'm hoping, he's going to be one of the voices of reason to come, to help and clean up what is in there. I absolutely agree with him. I think our legislature is lacking in many respects. It is corrupt. A bunch of thieves who do nothing, largely, there might be one or two in there who probably could do better, but I think they're being outweighed, by the corrupt ones. But I also want to ask the imam, where was he throughout this whole crisis? Where was the Imam Council or whatever they call themselves? Where was the Interfaith Mediation Committee? Where was the Liberian Council of Churches? Where were all these people? They do have a voice, and they have platforms that could be used also for the good of the country. How is it now that when this thing is considered resolved, and now he's coming out with a powerful statement? I think it's belittled. He can use his platform. He has, a concrete or whatever we call our Muslim brothers who go to the mosque. He can use that mosque to educate our people on who not to elect. He can do that. He can help us there. So I don't disagree with him, but I also believe he could have done his voice could have been used for a much better result than what he's doing with it now. And the fault is on all of us. I'm not going to leave myself out. All of us here, I think we have a responsibility to continue to sensitize our people so that when election time comes around, we all know who the bad ones are and kick the bombs out and put in the good ones. I think that's a responsibility that falls on all of us. So I don't disagree with him, but I will argue that his call is belittled. I hope he's going to follow that up, with action going forward.
Ahmed, this is Imam Krayi, who campaigned for Joseph Boakai and this administration, who accepted opposition from Joseph Boakai. He sits on one of the most lucrative boards, making money. And then he comes here and grandstand. I would call it grandstanding because he is part of the problem. He is benefiting from the loot. Now you want to dissolve. Remember, he didn't touch the executive. He said the legislative body because it was the executive that appointed him, that paid him. Like Namwe said, where has he been? All this. Now he wants to dissolve the legislature. Your take on Imam Krayi?
Well, of course, the absence of that critical voice that was loud in the past 6 years leave room for one to ask where he was over the last 8 months. That is obvious. Krayi's voice was one of those voices of reasoning. Of course, we didn't like it then as a member of the CDC then, but it was those voices that highlighted how our society could be better. And now to see that he was absent, only to hear him say one or two things. Perhaps there is quote unquote fire in the hole there, or he might come back in a few days to provide clarification as to what he meant. Because obviously that would not sit well with those people with whom he now sit as a board member. But true to his statement, the legislature has become a disappointment. I mean, it cannot be more emphasized when the speaker himself says publicly, I am a regime speaker, a fundamental betrayal of the Constitution that says we must have separation of power, check and balance. Like I said, Wednesday I will come up with an article in that direction. But here is the fact. Eventually, whether it is Clay, whether it is the chairman of United Party, or whoever, eventually the truth will press the conscience of everybody that you have to say some statement, maybe sometimes unconsciously we're all doing, because the reality is there. Like in an article that comes out tomorrow about Bouaka, with 40 years of experience, I would think nobody thought that we could be making or seeing these kind of mistakes that we see every day. So disappointment was set in. No matter how you love the government, no matter how perhaps you were against what we was doing and wanted something new, you wanted Bouaka, but as you go to bed every day and you see these things, your conscience will continue to disturb you. That sometimes when the mark come in front of you, you just start talking before you realize you go off the political, the passing straight, and you blunder. So Kai only mention what is the obvious, but of course it does not erase the fact, as Mr. Nangwe said, where was that voice? That voice that was prevalent, that was relevant, that was present 8 months ago. Where was that voice?
Real quick.
He said the truth.
Yeah, before I go to Siliki and then Garguah, I got a speaker on the line. I want to make a quick point. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, hello?
Yes, go ahead. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, thank you. I'm Pewee, Sylvester here. I just thought to quickly make this point about what the TV man said about the solution of the legislature, if you will. I think it's quite unfortunate for the imam to say that, and we agree that religious voices are very reasonable in our democracy, but the imam should understand first and foremost, to dissolve the legislature is tantamount to dissolving the entire government. I want you to remind him that we are in a constitutional democracy. So to come out and say you want to dissolve one branch is tantamount of dissolving the entire government, the government of which he serves. So that's a disservice, and I think he didn't read well before coming out with this statement. It's quite unfortunate for him not to not do his research and come out with this kind of statement here. But yeah, what I was saying, we agree that it's a disappointment, but we do have a constitutional democracy, and the very Bible and the Quran also instructed us to respect our government. So in an attempt to abrogate the Constitution is treasonable, and the Imam himself trying to commit treason here, to dissolve a constituted authority, which authority was instituted by the people. And that itself, in a way he wanted to be done, is not a good thing, and will be dissolving the entire government of our constituted. I mean, he's trying to, you wrote the very thing that he preaches day to day, and the rest of that. But I think there's a mistake on the part of the TV man. He will have to go back to understand, to say dissolve. Or probably even if you're trying to say don't elect them 2029, he will have to come and make some clarification. But I thought he already slipped big time this time around. He will have to make some correction moving forward. It's unfortunate that our religious leader that we trust and we have to go to direct the way forward with themselves, allow themselves to be pretend into politics and mislead the people of the country and take a particular side, and then criticize a particular group of political party, and then when you're on the other side of the political party, That's not good for the religious community in the country. And that's one of the reasons why the Council of Churches been sliding off the line, because they've been taking political side and they've been conflicted seriously. And this is not a good thing for our country. So I talked to just coming with this qualification that we as people, we have to now begin the process of being checkmating those also that are supposed to be the watchdog in the society.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Pewee. Siliki, this is what we are talking about when we say conflicted at the highest level. You accept opposition from the government and being paid handsomely. And during the crisis, he says nothing. The religious council said absolutely nothing. They were dormant, quiet. And when the heat is on and people are criticizing him, then he come out with a bombastic statement that the legislative body is useless. They should dissolve the legislature, but keep the executive that employ him. Your take?
Yeah, Mr. Gimel, I think I agree with you 100%. But here is the thing. I think 3 months or 2 months ago, the Imam appeared on OKFM, and he had a show with Clarence, the opening line, and you had most of the people, the callers from the Muslim community calling in, expressing a disappointment how silent, since this government came to power, the Imam, because remember that he used to be vocal during the last administration. He will go and post, about the wrongs doing. And the only justification the Imam had was that he attempted reaching out to the then President Weah, but he was not given a space to sit with the president. And so he became very vocal. And now he's working at the NPA, all of a sudden he's silent on issues. He's not speaking. So maybe because of the public outcry against him, so he just wanted to come out to say something so people can say, yeah, the Imam is back. And he didn't do it the right way. You come and say they should dissolve the legislature, but the executive who disregard the Supreme Court ruling, you say nothing about that, because that's the guy who appointed you or gave you the job at the NPA. And so you need to certify him. And this is how people become so hypocritical and inconsistent with that decision in Liberia. Once they are given, some positions where they can get 1 or 2 from at the end of the day. And this is actually affecting our country, because you can say they should dissolve the legislature and the executive remain, because the only justification, he didn't state that clearly in his statement, but anybody who will listen to Imam cry, they will definitely come to the conclusion that because the executive or Joseph Boaka appointed him at the NPA board, and so that's why he could not speak about it. A lot of things been happening. In fact, this very legislature he's talking about, the crisis lasted for 7 months to 6 months. As Mr. Nangbe said, what was him? No statement, nothing, without giving a supportive statement or, standing on the side of the rule of law. We didn't hear from him. After everything finished, now the people elected speaker, you come, you say they will dissolve. You forget about the president disregard or disrespect for the Supreme Court ruling. You forget about that because they are your boss. And this is sad, and that it's just a normal activities in Liberia. People do that.
Jerome, just point of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to Robert.
Yes, I know you got to go to Robert. I just want to quickly speak to Sylvester. And Sylvester, thank you for joining in. But I think what the Imam is proffering here is not an impossible, it's not a seditious suggestion. Yes, a referendum can be initiated that could lead to the dissolution of the legislature. If they do nothing about it, they drain our coffers, they do nothing, and I think we should really consider. You need about 10,000 signatures. Yes, the way the Constitution is written right now is almost impossible, because it has to go to them, and you have to get 2/3 approval for them to send it to the Elections Commission. But yes, I think this is something. Other countries, they have part-time legislature. They don't sit in the house. These people, they go on break almost every month. They're out on break. They work, whatever it is, 2 times a week for engagement and the rest of it. What are they doing? For which they're getting paid. Each of these people make almost $300,000 a year. When you add it all up, for what? So I think the cry, what he's saying, Sylvester, I don't think he's calling for some radical, out of this world, a solution to this crisis. Right now, the country is in crisis. Look, and then I'll pass it on. America right now is realizing that the empire is falling. All this thing Donald Trump is doing because he realizes they're unsustainable. The way we're running our country right now is untenable. It's not sustainable. We have to take drastic measures or else we'll run this country bankrupt if we haven't already done so. And this legislature, I think, is a drain on the economy for nothing. We need to think seriously about finding a way to deal with them. They're not doing anything. Every year, every term, they want to increase their pay. They want this benefit. They want that benefit. They want that benefit. They want that benefit. For what? What do they do?
Thank you.
So I think what the crazy is proposing is something we really need to think about and find a way it can be done.
Mr. Robert Garguah, Mr. Namwe saying the legislature is a drain. They are getting too much benefit. But the crying man who is talking, he want to know who is siphonning the benefit. He getting a lucrative one. He sat with the president. He's the the spiritual advisor to the president. He's getting paid. They had the audacity and the gall to come out and say they should dissolve the legislative body. They are useless.
Yes, from them. Yes. Listen, I think it goes back to what we were just discussing earlier about Edwin Snow, right? Edwin Snow, again, like I said, this is the political norm in our country, right? People are very hypocritical. Some of the very people who are criticizing Unity Party government today also did not criticize the George Weah administration because they had access to that administration. They had access to the president. And I believe if the Amar had access to President George Weah, he would not have been so critical of that administration 6-7 years ago, right? This is the norm in Liberian politics. The norm is that because Ahmed is my friend, and so I'm supposed to turn a blind eye when he does something in the public space that I will be so critical of if it was someone else who I do not have access to. This is the issue in Liberia politics. And so I don't want to give this man, I don't want to sound like I'm backing what he's saying, but if Edwin Snow can do it, why not the Amar? Why shouldn't he? Why should he criticize the government that he's a beneficiary of? He benefits from the government. I mean, he's been fed from the government. He's tongue. He really wants to talk, but he's picking and choosing what to talk about. He really wants to criticize, but he's picking and choosing which branch of government to criticize, and he goes for the legislative branch of government because he benefits nothing from that branch of government. I mean, come on, it's no brainer. Do you expect him to go after Joseph Boakai incompetence? The rate is a 200 LD per dollar. I remember a year or two ago, Unity Party were outraged when the rate went this high. Almost 18 months into this administration, we are not having any serious conversation, policy-related conversation about, are we doing better? Is the economy doing better now under this administration than it did under the George Weah and Summer 2 administration? Absolutely no. We are not having these conversations. But the very people who were outraged when the exchange rate was at 200 to $1 under George Weah administration, They are muted today. You know why? Because it's happening under their watches. It's happening under their watches. And guess what? If George Weah got elected in 2029, some of the very voices that you see on national radio today criticizing Joseph Boakai, you would expect them to be muted too. This is the hypocrisy in our country. We are not truth tellers. It's about our bellies. It's about us. Once we stand to benefit personally, listen, Ahmed is my friend. But I promise you this, if he did something contrary to my own principles, if he was involved in any corrupt act, he best believe I'm going to speak up against it on national radio. And do you think I would care whether or not he mad at me? I will scrutinize him publicly, and I will scrutinize him privately. Because it's the right thing to do. Sekou is my friend. Sekou Kalasco is my dear brother. He knows very well. And one of my things to him was, stay out of corruption. Stay out of corruption, because I was criticizing you. Don't expect me to be muted on a national platform where when these topics are about other folks in government, I'm as loud as I can be. But when it's about people that we know, we don't say anything. So listen, this is the political norm in Liberia. These are people who understand Liberian politics. For us, we are novice. We don't understand Liberian politics. So we don't talk strategically. We speak the truth. We don't talk because we're depending on our rent to be paid by someone, or because we're benefiting. Listen, I don't give a damn. My belly is in no one's pocket. So if people don't know how to act, if you got friends in government, they don't understand what you stand for, and they get involved into nonsense and expect you to be quiet and to mince your words because it's about them, you would not be my friend. I can tell you right now. So this is what he's doing. Yes, he's benefiting from Joseph Boakai, but is he talking about the economic hardship Liberians are experiencing? Go to these markets. Go around and talk to business people, and they will tell you how they're struggling right now. What have they done? How many private investors has come into the country? How many of them? So they're not talking about these things. And you know what? I will close on this note. I concur with him. Tell me one thing over the past 2 decades that the legislature has been as a benefit to Liberia. This branch of government and the executive have become a liability to the Liberian people. They erase themselves. They're living the best lives. They drive the best cars. The ugly old men have the best girls in Liberia because of their positions, right? What do we stand to benefit as a country? What have they done as a country that we can boast of? They're taking more from us than they're giving. So if it was up to me too, even though we're operating on a democracy, I would dissolve their whole government. Let foreign folks come and run the country. It shouldn't be ran by Liberians. Obviously, it's not possible. But the truth of the matter is, these guys are useless, and the very amount of talking, he himself is useless. They don't have any voice, because if their voices don't speak, if their voices are not as loud in times when it's needed, if their voices do not get the government feet, if these guys are not saying things that got people thinking to do the right thing, what good are their voices? They are all there for themselves. And until we start to really say to ourselves, are we really benefiting from these politicians? Are they truly in our interests? And should we really make the conscious decision we're really doing things differently? Until we do it, this is the norm. People will always support who they benefit from, and when it's not about that guy, then they become critical voices. This is the norm. This is what it is.
Thank you, Dr. Peabody. I wanted to skip you on this one, but
let me just say this though, Ahmed, real quick before you go. That guy was not no voice of reasoning, Ahmed. Okay, he was an opportunist. He did not get his way, and so we became his critical topic all day. Had we given him access, you would not have heard any reasoning from him. This is exactly what Boakai has afforded him, which is the reason why there is no more reason for him.
And I cannot fault you on that, because now that he has shown this is sufficient to say, like the usual political process, sink your way in. That's why you been. I mean, of course, you I can't fight you on that. I can't.
Dr. Peabody, I wanted to escape you, but you in the trap. I know you part of the fraternity. You're religious people. You don't criticize each other. But this one here, do you want it? Like, are you supporting the dissolution of the legislature?
Look, man, I think they should dissolve that imam position. I think that would be more important. You know, they should dissolve his. I don't know. You know, they should
shots fired. You are calling shots fired.
Is that an actual position though?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an actual position. Yeah, he's the chief imam of all the imams in Liberia.
Yeah, but it's not a government position. It's a
No, it's a religious position, but the position he holds, he's a member of the lucrative board of directors for the Port Authority. And
but you don't have to be on that board if the president don't deem fit to appoint you.
He also he also have his fellow tribal men at the manager of the National Port Authority. Dubois, his travel, so he could recommend and say, "Oh, I want Imam." Because that's some of the problem we have in our country today. Unless maybe he has he's bivocational, you know, that means he's an imam, and then he also have other bivocational skills that really qualifies him to sit on the board of the National Port Authority. Then I will have no problem. Probably he's not. I like me. I'm bivocational. I have another career outside of mine. Degree in Christianity or whatever. I have another area that I work, so that makes me bivocational. The thing is, some of these people when they talk, you know, and that's why somebody called them regime pastors, like Mr. Nangwe said, a regime religious leader, like Mr. Nangwe said. They only want to come there and talk when the offering plate is heavy from these government officials, or you have some top government official who's a member in the church and come there every day and giving these high offering plates. They will not see any reason to speak against the rule of law, injustices, and all of that. They will not do it. And as a religious leader, that's what they should be doing. You know, Jesus Christ spoke for the poor. He spoke against injustices and all of that. But the one we got in Liberia, they don't. You go up to that boy. I show up to one of these churches today. The pastor will preach a whole a loving sermon. God bless you. We pray for you. Or he's the man that God have ordained to lead this country, and will never say a word about his violation and ignorance of the law. That's the kind of leadership we have. We saw what happened with Fanati Kofa. You have religious leader calling him to resign only because they wanted to support Boaka. He gave them money and stuff like that. So Liberia is a country that even the religious leader, we can't even trust them much. The only person we can talk about in our country, maybe who I've already spoken of, is Reverend Cottle Brown. He has been. Why if Chief Kafuma Cunning was living today or around, he will speak against the injustices that we talk about in our country today. Today, some of our imams have become regime imams. They're not speaking against the rule of law in our country. And that's why I salute and still applaud Gala Chief Kafuma Cunning. Those were people who stood up against leaders who tried to do things in our country, and they stood up. But we don't see them today. They only go on the side with somebody who they support. You know, like they're offering not many people not giving too much in the church. So the pastor turned to the government official who would give them the offering and tithes. That's what happened in that country. You know.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, share this show. I'm reading your comment. My cousin, Ubantro, I see you. This one here, you know, after we got so serious, you got to loosen up a little bit. You're loosen up. Let put some fun into this. This one, I don't know whether a comedian wrote this script, but I will bring it out anyway, and I will start with Siliki. You are not spoken for a while. Joseph Walker wants appointed official of frequent travels. They are traveling. Joseph Walker wants appointed official of frequent travel without proper notification, call for accountability in allocation and usage of foreign funds to travel. Siliki, Joseph Boakai, who have never left the country, says it's not fair for you to just be flying all over the place, like your private money. This is government money. Y'all gotta be accountable. You can't just fly, man. You can't do that. This is not fair. Joseph Boakai wants appointed official of frequent travels. Frequent travels, man. Siliki, why did you travel to Rwanda? Go ahead. You should loosen up a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think somebody don't mute that. I'm hearing myself. Okay, good. So I think this is a complete joke, and they do this all the time. To make it look like I see them today. In fact, they say they're having a cabinet retreat at the executive mansion to, focus on resources mobilization to fight the so-called arrest agenda and all that nonsense. But it's a joke, Mr. Gaiman. This president, he said, I'm an old man. When I come to power, I'm not really, ambitious for, to live a kind of lavish style George was living. So you give me the opportunity. I just want to set the country on stage, that kind of BM rhetorics and all of that. And the Liberian people fell for it. They make him president. And the next thing they made did, he go and buy $1 million car and sit down inside. He said because he want to protect himself. And every time he come on the media and say, this country will fight corruption, will do this, and all those kind of, and they say those every day. They're making all those statements to the media, but they don't mean what they say, Mr. Gaiman. And I just wish the Liberian people can stand up to these people and say, you know what, enough is enough. Do what you say you will do, and stop giving us talk. I don't even get it. You come and say, oh, Joseph Boakai restricted. This is the same Joseph Boakai who say he suspended, 4,000 plus government officials for not declaring assets. And we didn't even hear any update whether a lot of people declare that assets or not. And you make a statement, say, oh, we wanted everybody to not travel. You come up, you make a statement, say, oh, right now we're not focusing on 2029. And so if your focus is 2029, you got to get out of the way. But your vice president went to Nema and was politically involved with the by-election in Nema. Only because he had an ambition in 2020 for 2029 rather. And you have no problem with that. Even your ministers, appointees, and all the people. And right now, as we speak, most of the government or how they call it, ministries here, their own class reloaded. They've rebranded that show now. They go there and misinform the Liberian people. And you just lying every day, lying to the people. I will do this. You can't do this in my government. And in reality, this is not what you meant. You don't even seem to be a president that actually want to do something to change the narrative. More than a year, Mr. Gaiman, almost 2 years in office. Those guys have not been able. You say you are educated, you're the most experienced president. But look, somebody told me something I will end on this, Mr. Gaiman. A big brother of mine doing the election, he said, look, Siliki, most of the people who call themselves big shot, politicians, they are well known and all of that, they know Liberian politics. The moment they cross the Rabat International Airport, they become nobody. Nobody know them. Ordinary men like you and myself. But when they come in Liberia, and this is what Joseph Boakai showing to us. He said he's the most experienced guy and all of that. One company can come to Liberia to give the Liberian people a job. Nothing. They don't even know how it works because the first thing they made disrespecting the Supreme Court ruling. So which only investor will even trust, that kind of country and go there and invest that money? When you say you get 1%. The legacy is about 0.00%, but we'll continue to talk. It's a scam, Mr. Gaiman. All I think we're talking about is a scam. Nothing serious about it.
Thank you, Mr. Namwe. You can double up. We got about 20 minutes here. We have here the government of Liberia again announced today from the cabinet meeting the government expansion of water supply in Greater Monrovia with over 2,500 people to benefit. Yet more Adina Style. Mr. Namwe, this is your friend, your good friend, Mo Ali. The problem he's having in Bapolu and Lofa They chasing him out of there because of what he said he did there. There's no water, there's nothing. He not come with a scene scam in Monrovia. He said 2,500 households will benefit from the new water system he's bringing, or that he brought already. Your take on it.
So let me just say this. Apparently, the government is not taking its own advice. When we met with the president on the 20th of April, one of the things he said to us, among many things, was that I think Turkish Airway or something. There was another airway that was offering to join Air Ethiopia, and all these airlines come to Monrovia. And what he said, because he said the airport people were clamoring and telling him to bring more people, and he said to them, well, before we expand, why don't we manage what we have properly, more efficiently, and then we can expand? This sounds to me like what the president was speaking against. You have the bubble, the bubble situation you're describing. There is, currently there's so much complaints are coming out. From what I heard, apparently most started very well, but it looks like I don't know, maybe if it is success may have gotten to his head or whatever it is, but it is not appearing that it is becoming more difficult to manage more efficiently what they have, and yet now they're trying to expand. How does that make sense? So I will just leave it there, and I agree with the president. Before you expand, make sure you're managing what you have very efficiently, and then you can increase. Otherwise, our people say you can't chew more than you bite, or something like that. I forgot the parable. Yeah, but you got to make sure you can chew more than you bite. Otherwise, you get yourself in trouble. And it looks like this is what is happening.
Ahmed, are you here? Ahmed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're not sleeping. Hey, you gotta open your wife telling you to hurry up.
You thought I was sleepy?
No, I disagree. I want to push back on Victor Namwe. Victor Namwe said the president told him we should manage what we have before we expect. We got nothing to manage, nothing. You got no policy. You got nothing to show. You got no investment. So there's nothing to manage. Ahmed.
Yeah.
Your brother Mo Ali say over 2,500 people in Central Monrovia is about to benefit from water supply, water and sewer. In the meantime, what happened in Bapolu and Lofa, the people are chasing them over there. Nothing works. They have not addressed that, and now they come up with another press release again. I mean, what's going on here with these folks?
Look, I've always said that the true measure, the true evaluation of governments, the impact of government's policy on the people are not in statistics, but by the reflection on the lives of the people. No matter the numbers you give, no matter perhaps the narrative you spin, it will never equal or erase what the people truly feel. What the people feel. So, I'm not in Monrovia right now to verify his numbers he's giving. Of course, government provided numbers on numerous and different things that are proven to be false. But ultimately, it is the impact on the lives of the people that provide for us the true value of this different policy, this different narrative, this different rhetoric of propaganda. And what we are seeing from the people, what we are hearing from the street corners, from the villages and towns, the markets, is a complete divide from what Mo Ali or the government continue to say every day in terms of its impact. And so, instead of perhaps trying to showman, filibuster, create a Facebook image, focus on actually doing the work. Because at some point in time, your performance will be validated by the people, and you cannot hide it, no matter what you do. You cannot hide it, especially in a society where expectations are so high. Talk about 2,400 water, household water. Because we want that to be for our country, we wish it is true. But like Azado say, you cannot govern in lies. If 2,000 or more households,
2005, over 2005, he says,
they're connected with water, then we can see. Because you say a good one, because that means you managing zinc round houses and all the things you talk about real structure. So you almost say the entire maybe Morovia, if not Masarauga County, got access to water. If that is true, that's good. But like I said, the true measure of government's policy program implementation is not measured by statistics. It's measured by the impact on the lives of the people. And if it is true, you are yay. But the news we start hearing now is different from what government reporting. So let's wait and see. It's like a pregnancy. It doesn't go out the back. It'll come out the front.
Mr. Garguah, Liberia does not have property identification system. So I don't know how we can justify these numbers that over 2,500 households get water. It's like American Gafuan saying the economy is to grow close to 4%. And the lady Manjua in the rally time market said, what are they talking about? If the Liberian economy grow almost 5%, I've been selling my cobalt all day. Nobody have bought anything. So how is this economy growing? Now here is Mo Ali saying water is all over over 2,500 households. Can you imagine over 2,500 households in meantime Monrovia get water? That's what Mo Ali is saying. You are man with the people. I mean, this one here, the Freetown method pass mark.
Yeah, because I think the people are immune to the laws, and the government understands the environment. They understand that this is what the people like. This is what it takes to win re-elections, and this is what it took to get elected. Remember, Joseph Boakai and Unity Party literally lied their way into governance. I mean, look at what we have experienced, gay man. Where are the connections? Who are those investors? Who are Joseph Boakai's friends? Gay man. 40-something years of experience. And I think we probably did not even consider this. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf had friends. She had friends in Washington, D.C. George Weah had friends. He may not have had friends in Washington, D.C. as Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did, but he had plenty of them in Europe and the Middle East. Did he use them to his best ability? That's a question that we can discuss. But who are Joseph Boakai's friends? Who are Joseph Boakai's friends? They put the puppy on the phone call the last time with Elon Musk. I don't know whose idea was that. They put him on the phone call with Elon Musk, and they made a whole public stunt about that. And the next day, there was a press release that, technology was about to go to the next level in Liberia. Young people who are interested in IT would benefit, and people did not understand the magnitude of this call. Months later, what has happened? What has happened? And so Joseph Boakai has no friends. Joseph Boakai has no friends. And for a country that depends on begging for everything, you need some friends. You cannot set him up. You need some friends. Who are his friends? If the president don't have friends, who are the friends of the foreign minister? Who are the friends of the foreign minister? Who can the president pick up the phone call to right now and say, Mr. President, my people need your help? These are some of the ideas that we have. And so when Mo Ali them run around and talk about all this big talk, because they understand the society, they understand the people that they're dealing with. When California them talk about how the economy is growing 4%, the economy growing 4% and your rate is $200 per dollar. Are we supposed to be stupid? The people don't know better. They don't know better. Listen, ask those in Monrovia, ask those outside of Monrovia, especially all those big homes and those mansions that have water tanks. Ask them, when was the last time they filled their water tanks? You already truly understand how many households are being supplied water in Liberia. Come on, these we know these are all lies. We know these are all lies, man. But people are truly believing these lies, and this is the unfortunate part about it. The government continue to lie to these people because they understand this is how you win an election, and if you cannot govern, right, because you lie your way to governance, you continue to double down on your lies, and this is what they've done. And so, listen, I want 2,000 households to have water. I want that to happen. I mean, remember, this is the same government who said after 90 days, no car will be stuck on a major road. They spent $22 million on dusted roads, and today we still have some of the issues when it comes to road connectivity across the country, including the president's county in Lofa County. Business folks are still having problems commuting. Businesses from different places to Monrovia. And so I want this government to succeed. But the reality is, gay man, Joseph Boakai has no friends. And the people who have friends, he's not close to these people. He's not talking to these people. He's not talking to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf as much as you would expect him to talk to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Madam President, can you call one of your friends? Can you contact this person? Can you contact that person? He has no friends. And this is something people must consider. And I promise you, Alex Cummings is sitting somewhere now just watching this with a smile. He's watching this with a smile. Because the reality is, I think Alex Cummings have more friends in the U.S. than Joseph Boakai wish he had to use right now. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. So good luck to those 2,000 households who won't be supplied water. But listen, I don't fall for that. I think it's BS. I don't fall for it.
Thank you. Dr. Peabody, over 2,500 homes. That's from Monrovia all the way to Orange Grove. Your hometown, you all got water, man. That's what the government says. Over, not 2,005, over 2,500 households in Monrovia are going to get water or got water. Wow. Your take on, we like I said, we don't have any numbering system. We don't have any means of measuring homes. We don't know where the houses are. We don't know where the families are. But over 2,500 homes in central Monrovia. Just imagine the joy on the faces of our poor people. Your take, sir?
You know, before I come with the guild, man, I just want to real quickly emphasize something you talk about. The president frown on Liberians for traveling. Look, you don't take these things. Just joke. Too much joke in our country. Right now, you have almost all the superintendents in Nigeria for training. Okay, all the superintendents of the counties in Liberia, they are in Nigeria. Unfortunately, Liberia is not too good to have a staff development now. You're carrying it to Nigeria for superintendents to have meetings and to have training, and you're paying their way. There are a lot of government officials out of the country right now. So I think we need to stop joking. The president just get and say things. Anything that get to his mind, come to mind, he just say. But again, if they are building $2,500, 2,500 wells, a hand pump, water for every home, 2,500 homes, then the whole Maria shouldn't worry again. We got water all over. If they don't need to worry about water in that country again, everything will be fine. But our people rejoice in lying to each other, and the Liberian people graciously receive the lie and run on the street. Oh yeah, the government doing well. People will argue, hey man, more Ali, keep doing what you're doing. You know, the Liberian people who are there, who are going through the problem, should be the one to come up, you know, and talk. But unfortunately, how can you get water to 2,500 homes in that country when you still have truck going from place to place and people go and get water from those trucks in Monrovia? Right in the city, the capital city of Liberia, you still got water trucks. People still holding water in the gallons and rolling into homes and other places. So 2,500 gallons is not a joke. That's a lot. Hey, kudos, Mo Ali. If you can get it there, that's kudos.
You know? Mr. Gamer, I will come in 1 second. You know, this Mo Ali guy, this is the same guy that went to court to win that fake, you know, lawsuit and filed against Mr. Cummings about fingering document. This guy went to court and said, he looked in the eyes of Mr. Cummings and said, Mr. Cummings fingered the document. And the people said, okay, since you said the man finger document, come and swear. This guy deliberately rejected his own religion.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not Muslim, I'm not Christian. And guess what? We're in the holy month of Ramadan. The next Friday, this guy was spotted at a mosque on Friday praying to the mosque after rejecting his own religion. Just because he expected to be in government today. That's the Mo Ali right there. And some Liberian people, they not care. They may come and talk. And one of the partisans the last time, the guy was angry. The guy coming on a Mo Ali post, say, I'm regretting my vote. And Mo Ali said, go and enjoy your vote. You see? So Mo Ali is a professional liar. He lied too much. You know, the guy rejected his own religion. That's the worst crime anybody can commit because
the same man who was putting himself in situation he could not handle.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our show here. We have promised that by 8:30 we gave our guys on the ground a break. Honorable Gay, I'm sorry you came in at the end, so we'll begin with you to give your closing argument.
How can a man get closing when he had no
Hey, listen, we all were given an opportunity from 5 to be here.
I saw something today that was a national issue, and I just
in your closing, you got 2 minutes.
Yeah. First of all, guys, sorry I came late. I was being busy at work, still at work. But today, and it goes right back to the same lies you guys were talking about, right? So the commissioner designate for the post of LDEA said today to the Liberian Senate, his strategy to protect our borders will be using drones, my people. Drones. Yeah, we're talking about houses in Monrovia. Currently, as we speak, at least up to 85% of homes in Monrovia still use bucket to flush their toilets. Still use bucket to flush toilets. We don't have running water in those homes in the capital city. You have the commissioner designate saying they're going to use drone. First of all, he doesn't even know how many Burkinabes that have illegally came to Liberia, but he's been working at LDA for 20 years. Another experienced person coming with a lot of years, but have zero data to provide to the Liberian Senate, also said that he holds a social science degree like you, Mr. Gilman, but he's in the wrong field, right? He had no security background. He had no criminology, nothing in security, nothing. But he's vying. He went for confirmation hearing, but in his 20 years of service, nothing against sociology people, but he could not pinpoint what he was able to accomplish in his 20 years of service at LDEA. Now, it has been alleged currently that over 1,200 people wearing the uniform of immigration that are not on payroll. Only 600 people are on payroll. Those people, some of them, been in the service for 3, 4, 5 years. And they went through the rigorous training, obtained certification from LDEA, and are wearing our uniform in the streets and not on payroll. This is disturbing. And so, if we will have a country that have LDEA members in uniform who are not on payroll, how do we expect these guys to fight drugs and other, immigration-related issues? So that was, something that struck me today. And I could not believe that a man who is, going for confirmation hearing, has nothing to present to the people as to why they should confirm him. Now they say, oh, the next hearing going to be closed door because it's not going to be open due to security aspect of the matter they want to discuss. But I'm pretty sure envelope will change hand and that man will be confirmed, unfortunately.
Thank you. Honorable Nyenwolo, you're closing. You got 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gimmer, and thank you all very much. It was great hanging out with you. Great show. Thanks to the audience as well. Look, our country is in trouble. All of us here, I think we are all unanimous, regardless of which side we're advocating for. I heard Senator Snow, struggling to modify his aspiration that this government does not succeed so that you can become president. I understand that, but I think that is disingenuous. I think whatever ambitions we all hold, I think we should wish that this government succeeds, because if it does, I think Liberia succeeds. Our people win at the end of the day. Notwithstanding, we'll do everything we can to call them out whenever we think they are wrong-footing, which they have done on many occasions. We'll continue to point out, what we think they could have done better. I think that is the job of the opposition. I'm not wishing ill on them, but I will make sure to tell them, when they're going in the wrong direction. I think that is what we're supposed to be doing. Having said that, I appeal to all of us, including this imam who made this call. I think we should join our voices and let it be known that we're not happy, we're dissatisfied, we don't like this, we don't like that, and I am sure this government eventually will take notice and listen. We use the ballot box, which is right now the most powerful tool that we have, and and make our voices heard. I think those are the options that are available to us. Finally, I really think we should look into what is required to get rid of this legislature as it is. If this current if the way this legislature is functioning, it continues to function in this way, it is working against the interests of the people. It's just working for the 103 people in there. I think we should do something about removing the bunch. They're not doing the country any good. They're not, as they're working. They're not. A bunch of selfish, do-nothing people, bunch of greedy people get in there, and they're all about themselves. I mean, where are the laws that the 54th or 53rd or whatever, what meaningful law have they passed? So I think we should really consider this and seriously and see what the process is. I'm sure it is possible. But thank you very much for the show. It was great hanging out with you guys. I got to jump out because I have another meeting going on here.
Sure. Siddiqui.
Yeah, I think it was a great show. Just a quick, update. So last weekend we had a great youth retreat at the headquarters of the ANC, and Mr. Cummings attended that program. It was a great one, where the young people of the party, interacted, and we had delegates from different countries across the country that came to Monrovia to attend that retreat. It was a great one, and the leader of the Youth Congress, Aliu, he made a strong statement, urging all the executives of the ANC to defend Mr. Cummings and the party, or else they should step aside, and then the young people would definitely take the lead. And so I think it was a great step, and it was a great program, very successful one. And afterward, we look forward to very, very, engaging, with the Liberian people, getting new membership on board. And we just want to tell every Liberian, you're welcome. We know everybody at some point we feel discouraged our country because of the kind of leadership we've been able to see. Seems like no hope, but we still have Liberians who really mean well, who really want to do the right thing. You can come forth, you put your ideas. We're not saying the ANC is the in your party, you know, and everything is well there. But your expertise, your ideas on how we can collaborate to just move our country forward is something that we're very, very looking forward to. And I think it was a great show. Yeah.
Real quick, Mr. Siliki, can you get us the youth leader so he can so we can grill him?
Yeah, sure. I think we talk about that.
Okay, bring him on.
Yeah, you are saying
so Garguah and Reverend Peabody can grill him. The youth, you say, why they call him the youth leader or the youth president?
Yeah, so currently now he's the Secretary General for the Youth Congress, but he's taking the lead. It's called Aliu Kedi. So he'll be here on Wednesday by the grace of God. Once the team agreed to give him the opportunity, he will be in studio in Liberia to come and talk about the retreat. Yeah, he will definitely.
No, we're not talking about the retreat. We're talking about the whole enchilada.
No problem.
Okay, great. Yeah. Bring him on. We got no problem engaging. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Robert.
It's always great show. I haven't been on, I think, the entire last week. Pretty busy. But it's two things I wanted to close on. One is I will reach out to Senator Abraham Darrell Devon. I'm trying to send my contribution that I made on this platform, but the people say I send too much.
You've been trying to get that guy one-on-one. He won't come.
People say I've sent too much money to Liberia, so I'm under an investigation right now. I'm trying to resolve that, but as soon as I resolve that, I will try to get him my contribution. Two, I think one of our own panelists here was appointed the international spokesman for the pending protest in Liberia. And I wanted him to be on before I make this statement, but I will. I will begin by saying I cannot support this protest. I cannot support this protest when you have voices of a protest that are conflicted. My brother Toga Alexander is a great man, but Toga has stated on national radio numerous occasions that he does not believe that any laws were broken when it comes to the legislative impasses. Yet and still, this protest is on the backbone of lawlessness in Liberia. So the question that I wanted to ask Toga and those who are organizing this protest, which laws are they selectively picking? Which laws were broken that they're protesting against come, I think, next in July or whenever this protest is scheduled for? Or are they? What is this whole protest about? Because when an international spokesman is celebrating the fact that you have a regime speaker who was appointed and selected unconstitutionally, the fact that he's celebrating this speaker when all of the laws were broken to get this speaker, to get this man where he's at right now, is conflicting. So for me personally, until Toga can clarify his position on whether or not he agrees that this administration have violated our laws, including their decision to ignore the Supreme Court ruling on the legislative impasses, I think the voices of this protest, I think, is conflicted. And I don't think they maybe they did not understand Toga's position, but you can't tell me that you don't see the laws that were broken when it comes to what happened at the Capitol Hill. But you on the other hand, you are the voice of this protest. I don't think that makes any sense. But it's always great being here, always a great show. But I think Toga should immediately resign because Toga does not believe that this administration have broken any laws when it comes to what happened on Capitol Hill. He does not believe that the illegitimate speaker's instruction for police officers to break into the vehicle of another lawmaker was a violation of our laws. He does not believe that. And this was supported by the executive. And today, the speaker is boldly saying that he's a regime speaker. If Toga does not believe that laws were broken, then there should be no protest. Let's all move on with our lives let's all be happy with what this government is doing, but you cannot have conflicting voices as spokesman for major protests against a government that have violated laws on numerous occasions, but yet still you don't believe laws are broken only because you do not like Fanatic Kofa. And I think it's wrong. But it's always a great show again, man.
Thank you very much. Ahmed.
Yeah. I mean, as always, thank to you, a great moderator. You lay out the topics well. To all the panelists, I think contribution always great for the country. We must continue to waking up consciousness of our country. We must be fearless in identifying the challenges our people face, and of course, provide solution. So I'll close tonight by again saying that the article that I published today was not one that sought to denigrate honorability, who are now recognized as one of the evolving political force in the country. I think it was there to answer the question that has lingered in the minds of some of the supporters in terms of what was the actual motive behind his own resistance. And as we concluded in the article, as you read, we emphasized that regardless of whatever ambition he may have had or whatever role CDC may not have played, Boyka was the actual chess player that connected all the doubt that affected a removal of speaker that resulted in chaos. That was the essence and the root narrative of that article. But overall, we think the political thing in the country where today, as Robert Redley said, today's advocate are tomorrow's praise singer must at some point come to an end. Other than that, I mean, we move anywhere, because if you cannot have a society where there are men of integrity, it becomes impossible to build strong institutions, because whether you like it or not, it is men, of course, women as well, that must lead these institutions. And if they build political career on dishonesty, look, you're not going to change immediately because you're not in the position. You're just eventually going to become who you truly are, as Obama would say. Political powers will not change a man, it only but reveal who he or she is, and that is perhaps the story of our country. And so what we do every night is only but to highlight these things and hopefully create an environment where we can discuss it, different opinions that should now go down the path of finding solution. So that's what we come here to do. I think it was a great show. We look forward to being here tomorrow, and we wish the state well. We hope Boyka succeed. We don't want him to fail, because if he does, obviously it means our people again will suffer. Good night. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And before I go to Dr. Peabody to take us home, our young man, Mr. Myean, is doing his national exam, Wyatt. So all this week and next week, he's preparing. He's going to tutoring. So please look Myean's way. Send his small team. Let him buy the color. When he's going to study, let him study well. So you got, if you don't have Myean's number, you got closing argument number, you got Dr. Peabody number, $10, $20, whatever you have for Myean, send it. Let the young man go study. Let him do well. Let him graduate on time. This young man, that's why I want to get out of here early so they can leave, go home on time. It's almost 1 o'clock there. But yeah, please don't forget about Myean. Send small team. We're not asking
I think we gotta do it across the board, because the other guys in studio too, but not like they come.
Oh, okay. If anybody there taking final exam or Wyatt, we will do this. This is
the guys in studio. We need to also, we do it for one. We do it for
I'm
all.
gonna say that because he's getting ready. He's doing a Wyatt. So anybody who in that position where you got to go to study hall and go to do all that, we will help you. But I know the work that you all do. We appreciate you guys. Myean is getting ready for the wire. We want you to pass his wire so he can graduate from high school. That's why we are here.
Very smart kid.
Doctor, take us home.
Very smart kid, guys. Thank you. Also, on that note, our reporter in Liberia, Samson Masare, is going to be burying his dad this week in Lofa County. That pass. So you probably haven't seen a lot of reporting from the closing argument this week. Samson will be going to Lofa to bury his dad. So let's keep him in prayers and in our thoughts and best wishes with him as well. Guys, wonderful show, Mr. Gilman. Thank you, man. You just an excellent moderator. That's why I just love to come and listen and watch you moderate and all of that. Hopefully the other guys will join us, Chief Tomalin, George, and others, and we're looking forward to bring in some guests as soon as possible. So, but guys, all of you guys have made the show possible. To our viewers, Robert, good to see you again. City Key, both City Keys, Rwanda and Pennsylvania. Good to see all of you guys. Mr. Gilman, thank you again. And we're looking forward to another fascinating show tomorrow. Take care, and God bless everybody. Have a good night.
Myean and Ansu, thank you guys. Take us home.
Toga must resign. Toga Alexander must resign.
Oh, we'll discuss that tomorrow.
I agree with you. I agree. He need to resign.
Tomorrow we will discuss that. You should be here.
He should not be a face. He shouldn't be the face of the protest.
Toga must resign. Competent. He must resign.
I'm going to share the letter, the article that Amir wrote. We're going to discuss it tomorrow.
I want you to discuss the one that coming up tomorrow.
Well, send me all.
It says, is the Bouakas presidency already in decline?
Oh, okay. And then,
but Toga must resign. Please put that on the agenda.
And there you go.
I will send an article to you tomorrow.
You guys are the one behind Stan. I'm sending a direct message to you and Mom. That man must resign immediately.
Stop with the whole stand.
Robert, what's about your brother, your bastard brother, Isaac Jackson? They hire him too.
No, but I said not conflicted. I said it's very straightforward on this government breaking laws. He's not. Toga is conflicted.
Toga was supporting Kuhn.
Yes.
So let's see. I'm not going to discuss that tonight. I think we should not go home. Robert. If the protest will be discussed, it will be discussed in way that advances it, not that.
Oh, no. You are pro-protest. We will put it out there. We're going to discuss it.
We want to see pro and con. We want to discuss the pro and the con. Who support and why not? And who? But I would suggest to you, if you want to discuss the protest, extend an invitation to the leader of the protest, as opposed to.
Can we do that to you for John Malu to come?
Yes.
We gotta go. Can we do that for John Malu to come?
Yes, I will arrange and let you know.
Please do. Thank you. He's a great guy. I would love him to come on.
And make sure the international sportsmen here. I will make sure that man.
Okay, Raul. All right, please do it. Raul. All right, guys. See you guys tomorrow.
See ya. Thank you.
Okay, good.